Lions have won the toss and elected to receive. Mike Smith, the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, looking for consistency from his team.
Well, he's looking for that back-to-back win. They haven't had that yet.
And Jim Schwartz wants his team to remember how bad it felt to lose last week and wants to see how they respond this week.
Yeah, it's amazing to be in this building. Last time I was here, these guys weren't that good. The building didn't have the electricity that I think we're going to feel today.
Matt Bosher to kick it off for Atlanta. Stephon Logan deep for the Detroit Lions, and here we go. Logan from 3 yards deep. Finds a lane, and he is brought down. On a good tackle by Brent Grimes at the 23-yard line. The Lions come out on offense to start the game. The offensive line, Jeff Backus, his 167th consecutive start.
Yeah, and they're without their great running back job at best. I think you're going to see tight end Tony Scheffler pick up some of those receptions that might have gone to the running back best.
See a lot of that two tight ends. The Falcons are concerned not only with Calvin Johnson, but with Brandon Pettigrew, the other fine receiving tight end. Matthew Stafford, the quarterback. And on the opening carry, it's the veteran Maurice Morris, gets a couple of yards up to the 25. Javid Best is out with a concussion, and Maurice Morris is the starter. For the Atlanta Falcons, defensively, they've had struggles getting to the passer. John Abraham is a key pass rusher. The linebackers, Curtis Lofton in the middle. A lot of pressure on the secondary.
Yeah, they're going to have to bring a lot of numbers to get pressure on Matthew Stafford. That's going to put pressure on Robinson and Grimes to hold up against the likes of Calvin Johnson.
2nd and 8. It's Maurice Morris, and he gets about 3 up to the 28-yard line. What are your thoughts about the Lions running back situation now?
Well, as I said earlier, they're very comfortable throwing to set up the run. They're going to get their running yards in what's called an exo. That's an extended handoff. They don't mind dropping the ball off for a 2 or 3 yard reception that can turn into something else. That'll be a bigger part of what their running game is.
Falcons have struggled to get off the field on 3rd downs this season. Out of the shotgun, empty backfield. Here comes the blitz. Stafford throws high, and it's 3 and out for the Lions. They have scored on the opening possession only once this season, and that was in the opening game when they scored a field goal.
Well, that's a big down for Atlanta, getting them off on 3rd down, because when we talked with Mike Smith, you could tell the tension and the angst in his voice when we brought up the difficulties on 3rd down. This is a good start for them in the first series, a 3 and out.
Eric Weems is back deep to receive the punt of the rookie Ryan Donahue. Kicking toward the sideline, angling it out of bounds. Let's see where they spot it. And the official moving up, still going to the 27-yard line, where the Falcons will have their first possession of the game. 45-yard punt. The offensive line, Will Svitek is starting at left tackle in place of Sam Baker, who's got back issues. Offensively, they're still without Julio Jones at wide receiver.
Yeah, I expect Terry Douglas to pick up some of those snaps. Very good after the catch. He's going to get them some additional yardage, even if they have to throw it underneath this defense of the Detroit Lions. And yes, as we expected, it's beginning to crank up here.
Here comes the crowd noise. Michael Turner, who had a big game last week against Carolina, gets up to the 29, a couple of yards. Lions defensively, they love to rotate the defensive line, but the key guys in Ndamukong Suh.
That's a talented front four, but this falls on the back of the linebackers and the DBs to cover that talented defensive line. We're going to see a lot of movement in that secondary to come up and try to stop the run of the Atlanta Falcons.
Chris Houston will be going against his former team, the Atlanta Falcons, and his good friend, Roddy White. A lot of movement on the line. There have been 14 false start penalties against the opposition in the last 2 games.
Well, I tell you what, this defense of the Detroit Lions. You can see the wide alignments, these wide 9 alignments. We'll talk about this later on, but the wide alignment of the defensive ends, this fast turf, and this noise we're talking about, that is the perfect storm for this reshuffled offensive line, because these guys have a lot to deal with, those 3 things.
You see the numbers there, 16 false start penalties, 15 in the last 3 games, including this one. Matt Ryan out of the shotgun. Everybody out. Ryan drops it off, and Michael Turner drops the football. The Falcons have tried to prepare for the noise by bringing in jet engines to their practice facility on Thursday.
Well, Mike Smith told us that it's not rock music, it's not any kind of music. The jet engines, that's the loudest they could get it at practice. That's what they simulated. You could see the decibels here. I'll tell you what, in talking with the coaches and players, it's irritating to deal with that noise, but it has prepared them for the noise they're going to hear today.
Have to get to the 37 for a first down. With Snelling in the backfield, Ryan throws, and it's intercepted by Eric Wright. He avoids 1 man and gets back to the 15-yard line.
Well, I'm not sure what Matt Ryan saw. He had fairly good, solid protection. I don't think he saw the widest defender rushing underneath. He was too wide to see this. You're going to see this out in here. He all of a sudden has width. He thought he had a clean shot inside. Did not figure Eric Wright was going to fall back that far inside. Huge field position now for this Detroit Lion offense.
9th interception of the season by the Lions. There's a flag on the play. 2nd interception for Eric Wright. There are a couple of flags down near the goal line as well. Bill Levy is our referee.
There were 2 fouls after the play. Personal foul, number 54 of the intercepting team. Personal foul, number 83 of the passing team. Both penalties offset. First down.
That's Harry Douglas for Atlanta, DeAndre Levy for the Lions. The penalties offset, and the Lions have the ball at the Falcons' 15-yard line.
Well, we saw the temperament of this game in the pregame warm-up, Sam. We showed it in our open. These 2 teams chipping at one another. That's kind of a no harm, no foul. These 2 guys getting after it. It's good that it was offsetting. Either way, it's got Detroit in great scoring position.
7th interception thrown by Matt Ryan. Lions start with 2 tight ends. Scheffler shifts. Pettigrew is tight. And Stafford is hit and brought down. Just overpowered on the play by John Abraham.
Well, we saw last week Matthew Stafford never really got comfortable against the San Francisco 49ers. We thought Atlanta was going to have to bring more people to get that kind of pressure, but here we are, the first snap. This was just a 4-man rush, and on the backside, Backus is just overrun here on the left side. Then he comes hard underneath. John Abraham, one of the best sack men in the business, and the fact they got home with a 4-man rush has got to be encouraging to the Falcons.
3rd sack for Abraham. Morris splits out wide, and another blitz, and down goes Stafford again. This time it was Sean Weatherspoon.
And they brought him from the outside. This is very encouraging. You're going to see this. You're going to see him come from the right side out in here. He's going to come hard. First he gets beat on the left side. So now Stafford, again, it's only a 4-man rush, or a 5-man rush. Little unconventional, bringing Weatherspoon flat on the line from the outside. But right now, Matthew Stafford, very uncomfortable, just like he was last week against San Francisco.
They've lost 14 yards on back-to-back plays. 9 on that last one. Have to get to the 5 for a first down. Stafford gets time. Drops it off to Maurice Marks. He's tripped up, falls forward to the 25-yard line. Stephen Nicholas with a tackle. And the Lions bring on the field goal kicking unit.
That's a huge win for the Atlanta Falcon defense, to be able to put on that short field like that and actually back them up. And as we said, the fact they're doing it with a 4- and 5-man rush, Brian Van Gorder says he's going to see if they could get that done early. They certainly did in that series.
Jason Hanson, 13 for 14 this season. This attempt from 43 yards. Ryan Donahue is the holder. Don Muhlbach the long snapper. Hansen puts it inside the upright, and the Lions have a 3-0 lead. Matt Ryan was intercepted. The Lions turn it into 3 points.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
Matthew Stafford already taken a beating. They're having to clean him up. Got a little something going on with his hand. The pressure that Atlanta has brought to bear on Matthew Stafford is significant this early in the game.
Eric Weems is deep to receive the kickoff from Jason Hansen. Takes the long run up. Weems moves up from 2 yards deep. Finds an opening. Good return by Weems. Still going. He's got a chance. There's a flag on the play. Weems could take it all the way. And he does. Now we check out the flag. 104 yards on the return. Will it stand?
During the return, illegal block in the back on the receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, first down.
Well, you're going to see it coming to right here. Just that little shot in the back. Unfortunate for the Atlanta Falcons.
Antone Smith with the illegal block in the back negates what would have been a great kickoff return.
Today's game is sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go.
It would have been a 102-yard kickoff return, but the penalty on Antone Smith means the Falcons start from their 23 on their second possession of the game. Empty backfield. Matt Ryan. He's hit and goes down. The flag on the play, and Dominican Sue hit him in the helmet as he ran by.
Well, I'm afraid that's what we're going to get.
Face mask, number 90 of the defense. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, first down.
Yeah, anything hit to the helmet, it looks like he maybe got just a bit of a grab there. Well, more than a bit.
Yeah.
He's lucky he's not looking out his ear hole right now. That's going to get called every time. Nothing intentional. You're just reaching for the quarterback as you go by. Whoa, boy. He's lucky it's just a turn in the helmet. Oh, boy, you can see why that's a penalty right there. Why it has to be a penalty. That's a dangerous-looking injury if not kept under control.
The ball up to the 33-yard line. 2 tight ends in. Reggie Kelly and Tony Gonzalez. Michael Turner carrying for a couple of yards.
Sam, we talked about key matchups and the way this team is strength against strength, and you can see right here the big one that's already showed up, this red zone efficiency. We've already seen the Atlanta Falcons very good. On defense are the Detroit Lions holding each other in bay here. If these strengths, third down, red zone efficiency, 10-play scoring drives. No one's better than Atlanta, but very few teams are better than not allowing it than the Detroit Lions.
On 2nd and 8, Turner again. This is a good carry. And then the Lions swarm to the ball. Forward progress to the 41-yard line. DeAndre Levy with the stop. Michael Turner, in his first game with the Falcons back in 2007, rushed for 220 yards. On the right is the offensive coordinator for the Falcons, Mike Mularkey. On the left, the defensive coordinator of the Lions, Gunther Cunningham.
2 former head coaches that are matching wits as coordinators now.
3rd and 2 with 5 defensive backs in for the Lions. Lawrence Jackson in at defensive end, replacing Kyle Vandenbosch. Ryan throws it. It's picked off by Aaron Berry. Try to get it to Harry Douglas. There were 2 men covering. Berry got his hands on the ball.
Well, there's that matchup we talk about. Atlanta, 6th in the league in third down conversion. They're very good. But Detroit's been excellent in terms of getting teams off the field on third down. I love it when we have strength against strength in this league because it really tests what you're about, both schematically and by talent.
Usher is back for the punt. Stephon Logan back at his own 15 to receive. catch and takes it at the 23-yard line. Lions, with a good start to the game, have a 3-0 lead.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. By Nissan. Innovation for today, innovation for tomorrow, innovation for all. And by Verizon 4G LTE. America's fastest, most reliable 4G network.
Lions defense has been strong early in the game.
Yeah, in the areas that they need to be. Obviously, they knew Atlanta wanted to run the ball coming in. They know that if Michael Turner doesn't get that 20 carries, that 100 yards that they're so famous for, that's gonna bode well for them. So far, they've shut down the running game and they forced them off the field on 3rd down.
Lions come out with 3 tight ends, Pettigrew, Heller, and Scheffler, and hand it off to Maurice Morris. Flag on the play. Pick up of a couple of yards on the play.
Holding. Number 67 offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
It's on the left guard, Rob Sims.
You know, it's so tough to start a drive when you start in a hole after a penalty like this. We're seeing a lot of penalties here, and I think it's in no small part. We talked about it in the open. There's a lot going on with these teams right now. Mike Smith, when he came into the Atlanta Falcons, says we've got to know how to win back-to-back games. That's the key to winning division. That's the key to win the playoffs. And of course, Detroit, they had to change the culture here. Can you sustain a loss like they did at home last week to San Francisco and come back and win at home again?
On 1st and 20 from the 13, Maurice Morris again gets a couple of yards. We'd like to welcome the men and women in uniform serving around the world, watching today's broadcast in 175 countries on AFN, the American Forces Network. Thanks for all you do. We hope you're enjoying today's telecast. And as always, you're in our thoughts and our prayers. The great service that you give to our country, we appreciate everything you do. Flag on the play. Swing it out. Once again, Maurice Morris takes it up to the 29-yard line. Maurice Morris, a veteran backup for the Lions. Has been here
Offside.
3 seasons.
Number 93 defense lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Morris is not flashy, but he's reliable. Holds on to the football. Good catching the football. The offside gives the Lions 5 yards on the play. Ray Edwards was brought in from Minnesota to help provide pass rush for the Falcons.
Well, he was trying to get a little of that jump that the Detroit Lions like to have at home off this turf. A good pass rusher like Ray Edwards loves the jump he gets on turf. Problem is you can't line up off sides to do it.
2nd and 12. 5 defensive backs in for the Falcons. Stafford sends it out to Nate Burleson. Slips one man, but the Falcons swarm to the football. Time for our first update of the day. For that, let's go back to the studio to Kurt Menefee.
Doesn't matter what side of the Atlantic the Bears are on, they rely on Matt Forte. Playing the Bucs in London, Forte 58 yards on an 81-yard touchdown drive, including the touchdown from 32 yards out, and the Bucs lead the Bucs trail 7-0. Sam?
In London, Matt Forte, boy, I love him. He is a great running back.
Great all-purpose back.
3rd and 11. Out of the shotgun, Stafford steps up. Buys some time, being chased, and shoveled it ahead. It's incomplete. Jonathan Babineau chasing Matthew Stafford and forcing that backhand shovel pass that went incomplete. Both defenses getting after the quarterback here.
Yeah, they are, and this is, you can tell that the two offenses are trying to feel out the defenses. What's going to work? What personnel? What formation? Right now, not much of anything's working. They hope they can build on it right there. Mike Smith getting after some of his guys about what needs to get done. You can't allow the big play.
Ryan Donahue again kicking toward the sideline. It spins into Eric Weems. Weems, great return. Weems has the punter to beat, and he's brought down from behind at the 25-yard line. Anthony Madison makes the tackle. 37-yard return for Eric Weems.
Well, they've been exchanging favors in terms of penalties, both coming up with inopportune penalties at the wrong time. Now they're going to match it up. Atlanta gave Detroit a short field to see what they could do with it. Detroit has returned the favor and seeing what Atlanta can do with the short field.
Weems, who had the great kickoff return, negated this one. A 41-yard punt, but a 37-yard return, and the Falcons at the Lions 26. Michael Turner behind Ovi Mohaley, the fullback, gets 2 yards on the play. DeAndre Levy makes the stop.
You can tell the different approaches these two teams have. We talked about Atlanta wanting to run to set up the pass. They've got a good fullback in Ovi Mohaley. He was with us in Baltimore. Good lead back and can catch the ball. Detroit doesn't even have a fullback on the roster. They do it with 2 tight ends that give you more multiplicity to throw the ball. Hence, they want to throw to set up the run.
Turner 4 carries, 13 yards. Off the play fake. Ryan for Mohaley out of the backfield. Incomplete. Covered on the play by Justin Durant. Durant coming back from a concussion. Gunther Cunningham says he's the most talented linebacker they have.
Well, when they picked up Durant and Tulloch, that was huge for this defense, not only because of their abilities, but they understood the defense, and that's so important with this wide 9 defense. The linebackers have to cover the defensive line. These 2 linebackers know how to do it in this scheme.
3rd and 9. Ryan being rushed, throws, completes it right at the first down line, and it is a first down. The completion to Tony Gonzalez, the man who is always there in the clutch.
Yeah, there's a shot. Clutch time. I need someone to make a catch. Tony Gonzalez. Here you can see just a little out route, one-on-one, going to match up with any, whether it's a corner, a safety, or a linebacker. Tony Gonzalez is a good matchup.
His 1100th career reception. He is 4th all time. And he has caught a pass in 170 consecutive games. Turner gets down to the 12-yard line. Picks up about 3 on the play, maybe 4, close to the 11.
Well, we showed you the graphic earlier. Atlanta, 2nd best in the league in red zone efficiency. They've been so good down in here. The key is, particularly on the road, you've got to come away with touchdowns, not field goals, when you're in the red zone on the road in particular.
2 tight ends in, Reggie Kelly and Tony Gonzalez. Roddy White motions. There's Turner. Gets by 1 man and is tripped up. An ankle tackle by Amari Spivey, the safety, but Turner gets down inside the 5-yard line.
I want you to watch this action here. This was very good last week for the San Francisco 49ers. That wham block by the tight end. Starts on one side, comes back the other way to widen this wide 9 defense we keep talking about. Very successful last week by the San Francisco 49ers. Obviously very successful there by the Atlanta Falcons.
Going to have a measurement on this. You see the red zone numbers. Just inches short. Couple of links on the chain.
Well, the good thing for the Atlanta Falcons, they have got some real beef in the backfield for this situation. If they want to give a quick dive to the fullback, they got Ovi Mohaley. You want to hand it back a little deeper, you can go with the big guy in terms of Michael Turner. Now they brought in the little guy. I don't know what this means. I think this means either a quick trap. Nope, they're changing their mind.
5'6", 196-pound Jaquiz Rogers came out on the field. Mike Smith, a little upset as they decide what to do on this call.
I can promise you that was Mike Smith saying, wait a minute, Mike Mularkey, my offensive coordinator. I got a 250-pound Ovi Mohaley and a 240-pound Michael Turner standing next to me on a 3rd and inches, and you're putting in our 160 or 170-pound running back, Jaquiz Rogers. Let's rethink this a second.
5 defensive linemen in for the Lions. Mohaley and Turner in the backfield on 3rd and inches. It's Turner tripped up. I don't know if we got anything. And Dominican Sue came in and made the tackle. Then Sue got challenged by Joe Hawley and shoved him down.
Well, I'm not sure Michael Turner, in typical Michael Turner way, didn't just bowl himself just far enough for the first down. Evidently not. You're going to see here, that's a lot of beef inside, downhill. He starts to stumble, keeps working, can't quite make it. Of course, the yellow line is not official. Doesn't look like he could find his way back to the line of scrimmage, and in comes the field goal team.
Falcons will go for 3. Matt Bryant has been perfect this season. 8 for 8. This is a 23-yard attempt. Out of the hold of Bosher, it's through. And the Falcons, after an outstanding punt return by Eric Weems, they put 3 on the board to tie the game. Great intensity, and right in the heart of things is Ndamukong Suh and the Lions defense.
Well, that intensity has led to some errors as well. That's going to have to get under control for both of these teams as we go forward.
Bosher kicks it off. Stephon Logan from 3 yards deep. Tried to twist outside and was buried as he got across the 10-yard line. Lawrence Sidbury with the tackle. Let's go back, Brian.
Well, right here, Ndamukong Suh just slices through the defense. Maybe the best quick big man in the game right now. Totally upsets the timing of this play, but then this is what I'm talking about. This is a great play by the Lions. They've stuffed it on a 3rd and less than a yard, but watch what happens here. Suh excited about what's going on. Little bumping, pushing, and shoving right here. That might have cost the Lions. It's that type of thing that these two teams have got to get under control, because that might get you under, that might present a problem for you going forward.
On that kickoff, the Falcons were offside. There was a flag behind the play, so the Lions, obviously with only a return to the 10-yard line, have opted to have the Falcons kick off again.
There again, a mistake, a penalty, and this can be huge. They were about to have to start this drive about the 10, 12-yard line. We'll see where the return comes out to, but that's a huge change in field position because of a simple mental error on, of all things, the PAT field goal team, or excuse me, the kickoff. Again, the new rule says you cannot start early on the 40-yard line. Right there, offsides. I mean, you got to time this stuff up. It's a simple little thing, but it's a little error like that that all of a sudden negates what could be a big play.
All right, the kickoff from the 30. Stephon Logan getting set on the return. Bosher does it again. Logan looks up, and he's 3 yards deep again. Better return. Out to the 27, 28. The Falcons think they got the ball. The ball came loose. Falcons think they've got it. And the officials say yes. A fumble by Stephon Logan.
Well, just a great job by Dent. The ball is clearly free. And now I got no idea what's going on in there. All we know is that at the end of the day, the Falcons came up with it.
Forced fumble by Akeem Dent, number 52. And looked like Jason Snelling may have made the recovery.
Yeah, you got a whole bunch of white jerseys and only one Honolulu blue jersey, so you got to figure that was going to favor the Falcons.
So what looked to be a break for the Lions on the return turns into a turnover and recovery. Good play by Akeem Dent, and the Falcons have the ball on the Lions' 28-yard line. Matt Ryan, slow start to the game, just 1 for 5. Michael Turner hit and brought down, flag on the play. Stephen Tulloch on the tackle.
Holding, number 63, offense.
Wow.
Penalty, repeat first down.
Justin Blaylock, the left guard, called for the hold.
Just mistake after mistake in terms of penalties here that are just killing. You can see Blaylock, 63 right here. And this is, you know, you're in red zone territory. We talked about it, and that's clearly a hold. Look, you can't hold on the pads like that. Now you're inside the red zone. You're one of the top red zone efficiency teams in the league. Now you're not even in field goal range anymore.
5th penalty of the game on the Falcons, and we're still in the first quarter. Ball back to the Lions 38. Jacquizz Rodgers, rookie out of Oregon State, is in the backfield, number 22. 3 wide receivers. Ryan throws outside to Harry Douglas, and he's shoved out of bounds at the 30. Brian, a lot of talk about the wide 9 defense that the Lions use. Well, we got the coach to try to explain it to us in a little classroom session.
Everybody's talking about the wide 9 defense, so I'm going to have to draw up for you here exactly what it is. This should make it very clear what this defense is.
I think I got it.
Yeah, I thought that was very clear cut, didn't you?
2nd and 12. Ryan outside for Kerry Meyer, and incomplete.
Yeah, and that was great fun to do, but at the end of it, when you see all these lines and diagrams, what it tells you is there's a lot to this defense. There's a lot of complexity to this defense, and the mesh between the defensive line, the linebackers, and the secondary. We've had a couple Philadelphia Eagle games, Sam. They are not being able to get that mesh. Gunther Cunningham, one of the originators of this defense, has Detroit playing it at a much higher level.
Falcons have to get to the 18 for a first down. Everybody out. Pass complete to Roddy White. He's got a first down at the 15-yard line. The key receiver, Roddy White.
On the outside here, this is as simple as a screwdriver. Just a double slant by Gonzalez. It allows the quarterback to get the ball out of his hands quickly. Obviously, with this wide 9 pass rush that Detroit has, Matt Ryan knows there's a quick clock in his head. It has to come out quick. Nothing easier to do than a quick slant.
Roddy White's caught a pass in 75 consecutive games. First down at the Lions 15. Michael Turner got a good block from Mohaley. Takes it inside the 10-yard line. Louis Delmas, the safety, came up to make the tackle.
And this is where it gets lethal for this defense. Here you see play side, and then you get a cutback. You can see how it's collapsed in here. If I can cut back outside the perimeter of the defense, as Michael Turner did there, then you are dead as a defense. The widest rush man has to keep the ball carrier on his inside.
2nd and 5. They reset the ball at the line of scrimmage. Turner, 7 carries, 21 yards. 3 wide receivers. Ryan gets time. Deep for Gonzalez. He was tied up. There's a flag on the play. Bobby Carpenter was covering on the play, and there was contact in the end zone.
You know, I'll be interested to see if this is offensive or defensive. I'm not sure Tony Gonzalez didn't have a little pushing and shoving going on here. Let's see what they come up with. The fact that there's this much discussion makes this very interesting.
There's only 1 foul in the play. Pass interference defense, number 59, in the end zone. Ball will be started at the 1-yard line, first down.
Gonzalez wins up in here. You can see it right here. Just a little bit of almost no harm, no foul. I don't know about that one. Watch this. You can see Gonzalez. They're just turning. I don't know that he didn't play this pretty good, and Gonzalez kind of stumbled coming out. If I'm Jim Schwartz, I'm a little upset about that call.
Didn't look like a catchable ball either.
Yeah, I'm not sure you could have called that in basketball, but here we are. Nonetheless, we're on the 1-yard line.
Falcons have scored 19 times of 21 trips to the red zone this season. 3 tight ends in. From the 1, Ryan puts it up deep in the corner, and flags on the play on Stephen Tulloch, who is covering Tony Gonzalez.
Well, I wasn't sure about the last one. I'm sure about this one. You can see right here, coming up in here, he reaches up. He knows he's beat. And Tony Gonzalez, we saw in the pregame show, he can reach up there and snatch this thing with one hand. He was talking to his son about it in the pregame. I loved it. And Tulloch understood that. He knows, you know what? This guy is the greatest tight end in the history of the game. I think I need a little advantage.
That was a great interview by Nico with his dad, Tony. So they move the ball up half a yard. It's 1st and goal. Atlanta has 5 first downs thus far in the game, 3 by penalties. 3 tight ends in. That's Michael Palmer shifting. Movement on the line before the snap. Looks like it might be the Lions offside.
Yeah, we're going to see. It looks like the offensive line tweaked a little bit. Were they drawn that way? Remember, it's not a penalty until there's contact or somebody moves. Got a lot of milling around. Hey, again, this game has gotten very, very emotional. Both understand the importance of winning here. Let's see what...
There were 2 fouls on the defense. Encroachment, number 99 defense. That penalty is declined. Personal foul, elbow to the head of the quarterback, number 99 defense. Ball will be placed at the quarter-yard line, 1st down.
That's on the tackle, Corey Williams.
Yeah, I don't know if that's not, of course, you're only giving up half a yard. What the heck? You can see right here, the ball just a little shove like that. Nothing, you know, nothing big, but enough to get you a penalty.
Quarterback sneak by Matt Ryan. Still no signal. The Falcons think it's in. And the officials say yes, it is. Ryan with a quarterback sneak for a touchdown.
Yeah, and understand, this isn't a delayed call by the officials. This is the process. A lot of people get frustrated with, well, how come it took so long? They can see where he gets. Right now, they have no idea where the ball is. The officials will run in from the side, look and see, okay, does he indeed have the ball? Well, he crossed the plane, and if he's still got it, okay, yes, now it's a touchdown. That's what they're conferring. You can see them coming in. They haven't signaled yet. That is the process. That's the way they're supposed to do it.
2nd rushing touchdown of the season for Matt Ryan. His 4th career rushing touchdown.
The previous play is under review.
All right. Every scoring play is checked out. And now Bill Levy has been buzzed to take a look at it down on the field. Looked like Matt Ryan got in. The referee will check it out.
Well, I don't know if there's anything to see here that would indicate it's not a touchdown. And keep in mind now, we've been at this for a third of the season now, that every scoring play has the potential to be reviewed. It's looked at.
During the play, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
All right.
So there was obviously nothing. They thought there was something worth looking at. I'm not quite sure what it was, but that was standard operating procedure.
The Falcons capitalize on the turnover. Akeem Dent forcing the fumble by Stephon Logan. And the Falcons turning it into 7 points. Falcons 4th in the league in points off turnovers coming into the game. Matt Bryant's extra point is good, and the Falcons have taken a 10-3 lead with just 4 seconds remaining in the 1st quarter.
Well, both these teams are playing with a great deal of passion. There's been, you can see right here, they're already wolfing at one another. The team that wins this game is the team that can maintain that passion but get it under control. Far too many penalties, far too many mistakes for both teams at this point.
How do you settle your team down while the game's going on?
And that's the fine line. You can see here, this is just a John that's going on, and the question, that John's going to happen, but what do you do from here? You even got the kicker involved here. Now you know it's serious when he's in here standing up to Corey Williams. I don't know that I like that size ratio there, but when you got the kicker, John, you know this is serious stuff.
Corey Williams was the man who took the penalty earlier, throwing the ball into the face of Matt Ryan.
But to answer your question, Sam, it's that fine line. You want to reel in the lack of focus. You want to reel in the mistakes, but you don't want to stamp on the passion, because this is a physical, passionate game. That's the challenge for both coaches. You've got to somehow find a way to refocus them, and it even comes down to the play calling. I'm going to slow down whatever shifts and motions I've got called until I know we're under control. I may even calm down some of my blitzes until I know we're better under control.
Matt Bosher kicks it off. Stephon Logan steps up 1 yard deep. And Logan with another good return hangs on to the football to return to the 30-yard line. We've come to the end of the first quarter. Lions scored first. Falcons have the lead, now 10-3. Getting set to start the second quarter. Look at those numbers in the first quarter for Detroit.
Well, you got zeros, ones, and negatives there. That's usually not very good. They haven't had a chance to get their offense started up.
No first downs for the Lions in the first quarter. They start from the 30 off the play fake. Stafford rolling and completing to Will Heller. The tight end gets up to the 37-yard line. Keelan Williams is in the backfield now at running back for the Lions. Calvin Johnson, they haven't thrown to him yet.
Well, you can see why. Look at, they're rolled. They got two people on him. They're rolling up to him, and that safety is going to be over the top. They are not going to give Calvin Johnson too many one-on-one opportunities in this game.
Fourth possession of the game for the Lions. A punt, a field goal, and a punt. 3 plays on each possession. End around to Nate Burleson with some room. There's a first down for the Lions. Their first of the game up to the 48-yard line. The safety Thomas Deku came in to make the stop.
Yeah, and we talked about, you can see just in here, you can't on the end collapse like that. Abraham's chasing the quarterback. What we say earlier, you can't let an offense get outside the perimeter of a defense. We said that Detroit had to manufacture a running game with short underneath passes. Well, we've also seen it by way of a reverse.
From the 48, Keelan Williams, who played for the Washington Redskins last season, was a cut at the end of training camp this year and picked up on waivers by the Lions. Getting a chance to play with Javid Best out with a concussion. Jerome Harrison, what a strange week. He was supposed to get maybe 15 carries in this game, but then they traded him. They announced the trade to Philadelphia. He got checked out by the Eagles doctors. Wound up they found a brain tumor. He had surgery on Friday. Completion to the tight end, Tony Scheffler. So what a strange thing. If that trade doesn't happen, he doesn't get checked out. That trade happens. He complained of some headaches that he'd been having. The Eagles doctors check him out and find a tumor.
Yeah, it's amazing, the sequence of events, and thank goodness that it was. You know, that's not something you're naturally going to check. MRIs, brain MRIs for your players, unless the symptomology is so overwhelming. So thank goodness it went down the way it did.
Lions offense starting to rev up here at the Atlanta 41. Here's Keelan Williams. Breaks through. Nice run by Williams. Down to the 23-yard line. Gain of 18 on the play. Brent Grimes with a tackle, but a good run by Keelan Williams.
Well, we talked about the wham play San Francisco ran. We've already seen Atlanta run it. Well, you know what? Detroit says we can run our own wham plan. Wham play coming from the backside. That can really, if you get good push by your offensive line, that wham on the backside coming from the backside can be by a tight end, it can be by a fullback, really open up some gaps in the defense, and as much pressure as Atlanta wants to bring, it could create some gashes in the running game for Detroit.
Burleson motions. Williams again. Gets down to the 20. Time for a game break, and for that, back to the studio in Los Angeles to Kurt Menefee.
And we got another San Diego Charger touchdown for you. Antonio Gates hadn't played since week 2, scores his first touchdown of the year. It's 14-3 right now. Chargers on top of the Jets, but New York is inside the 5-yard line, Sam.
Thanks, Kurt. Chargers looking good on the road. Jets still struggling.
Yeah, doesn't hurt to get Antonio Gates back at all.
Yeah, that's right. At the 20-yard line, 3 wide receivers in. with Maurice Morris in the backfield. That pass for Calvin Johnson is incomplete.
Matthew Stafford would love that one back. Watch here at the top. This is too low a pass for Calvin Johnson. Yeah, should he come up with it? Sure. But that gives the DB, those are long arms. I want you to watch how long it takes Calvin Johnson to get his hands on it, pull it up to the body. You need to hit a big man like Calvin Johnson in stride, chest level with a pass like that.
You're being nice to Calvin Johnson. I think you should have had that, Coach.
No, that thing got stripped.
All right.
100%.
You better be careful. I'll tell Calvin you said that.
Third down.
Roy.
Have to get to the 13 for a first down. Stafford puts it up. His receiver stopped, and Brent Grimes dropped it. He could have intercepted, but he dropped it.
Watch
Titus
here.
Young, the intended receiver, stopped.
Just a mistake. I thought you were going deep. No, I pulled up. Obviously, Young and Stafford not on the same page. Stafford thought because of the way Grimes had his shoulders that he was going to go for the jump ball. Because Grimes was off of him, Titus Young pulled up. Just a miscommunication. Again, another mental error on the case of the Detroit Lions.
And Brent Grimes frustrated. He thought he had one there. Should have had one. 38-yard field goal attempt for Jason Hansen. And he puts it through. The Lions get 3 on the board. Cut into the Falcons' lead. It's 10-6. Stafford upset with that last play.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you. By Chase. Don't get shortchanged. Get your cash back with Chase Freedom. And by Triple Hops Brewed Miller Lite. Taste greatness.
Sam Rosen, Brian Billick, Laura Oakman here at Ford Field. In Detroit, Lions trailing the Falcons 10-6. Eric Weems has been good on the returns. He had a 102-yarder wiped out by a penalty. Brent Grimes almost had an interception.
Almost. That's why he's a DB and not a receiver. You got to come up with catches like that.
Hansen, good leg. Weems takes a knee. That was a tough one to return. And the Falcons will start from the 20. There comes Matt Ryan trying to get the Falcons offense going. The quarterback on the left, the rookie wide receiver Titus Young on the right. Trying to get on the same page. Falcons from the 20. Ryan puts it up short and completes it to Harry Douglas up to the 25. Let's go back to that play.
Yeah, let's see what they show. I want you to watch the technique of Grimes. Right at the top. Look, his shoulders and hips are turned upfield. Now, this is a hitch-go combination. To me, it looks like Titus Young is correct. He's upfield running. I'm going to pull up. Matthew Stafford, for some reason, thought he was going to go down the field. That's what he's explaining to right now. It was either, hey, you're supposed to do this. Either I was right or you were right. From the look of that, I think Titus Young was correct.
All right. Matthew Stafford says, I love you.
Yeah.
I still love you. I'll pass it to you later. 2nd and 5, Falcons. Michael Turner. Oh, he's tripped up. Nice play by the safety, Louis Delmas. Turner hasn't gotten much going yet.
Yeah, Atlanta, and he's right here. He's right here. He's part of the front right now. This is straight downhill. He's got no one blocking him, so I thought Mahaley was going to take me on. That got into what they used to call the old Bear Eagle defense. He was up there to jam Gonzalez, the good tight end. It was a running play, so I'll become a linebacker.
And Dominican Sue is out. Nick Fairley, the rookie first-round draft pick, is in at defensive tackle along with Corey Williams. 3rd and 5. Ryan throws and completes it. Once again to Tony Gonzalez. That's 1,101 receptions for Tony Gonzalez. 2nd of the game.
Yeah, and the mistake here is DeAndre Levy is not going to stop Tony Gonzalez from catching a quick slant. You got the big body. You got the highest receiving tight end in the history of the game. I understand he was there to get a good jam to help the DB, and he didn't.
He's now tied with Chris Carter for 3rd all-time, 1 behind Marvin Harrison. Eric Weems is in at wide receiver.
Atlanta loves the no huddle. I'm surprised they're trying it in this building. The crowd's going to have to get a whole lot louder if they're going to stop them in this no huddle.
Nice run by Turner. Let's go down to the field to Laura Oakman. Laura.
Thanks, Sam. If you saw the pregame show, you saw a great interview with Tony Gonzalez. The reporter, his son, 10-year-old Nico.
2nd down, 5.
What's with the one-handed catches? You always tell me to catch with 2 hands.
But sometimes you got to improvise, okay? Sometimes you can't get 2 hands up there. You got to throw the one hand up there and try to stick it.
That was a great piece, and that's Tony. Sometimes you got to improvise. He's trying to teach his son the fundamentals as well. On 2nd down, Ryan puts it up deep for Roddy White. Too far. White and Chris Houston, real good friends. Houston played 6 years in Atlanta. They are good buddies.
Well, you know you have to be explosive in this game. It's something Atlanta's trying to do. It's why they drafted Julio Jones, who's not playing today, taking a nice vertical shot. Matt Ryan needed to take just a step off it. We've seen that combination hit so many times. It's not the last time we'll see him take that shot.
Houston 4 years in Atlanta. Correction on that. Atlanta 3 for 6 on 3rd down conversions thus far in the game. Jason Stelling in the backfield. And Dominican Sue still on the sideline. Ryan too high for Roddy White. Flag on the play. Ryan got knocked down in the backfield.
Number 93 defense. Helmet to helmet. 15 yards. 1st down.
That's on Kyle Vanden Bosch, who doesn't like the call by Bill Levy.
You heard him. Come on, man, right in here. He's going to come off. It's going to be kind of late. He gets almost pushed into it. Boy, I don't know. It looked like he hit the breastplate and worked his way up to it.
But a little late, I thought, Brian.
Yeah, but that wasn't the call. The call was head to helmet to helmet. From the view we saw, I'm not sure he did. Now, it is a penalty, even if you start with the breastplate. Watch right there. I'm not sure he ever made it up to the helmet. I'm not sure they didn't miss on that one.
Personal foul puts the ball at the Detroit 46. Turner is stopped short of the line of scrimmage.
There again, Sam, another penalty, whether it was legitimate or not. And he's still jawing about it. He's still saying you missed something there, and I'm not sure the official did. They were off the field. That was 3rd down.
Vanden Bosch comes to the sideline. He's replaced. Cliff Averill is in with Lawrence Jackson at the end positions.
This crowd's going to have to crank it up a whole bunch more if they're going to stop this no huddle of Atlanta's.
On 2nd down, Ryan takes off, and he's brought down. Good tackle by Nick Fairley. Fairley missed the first 4 games of the season. He had foot surgery. This is his 3rd game.
Well, we talked with Atlanta about running their no huddle, which is very, very effective. Mike Smith puts them, the head coach, puts them into this mode. The question was, could they do that in this building? They say, look, we play in New Orleans in the Dome. We've been to Seattle. We can orchestrate it here. This crowd's going to have to affect the game more. They got to get the decibels up to get them out of this no huddle.
And Dominican Sue back in. Fairley goes to the sideline on 3rd and long. Ryan is pulled down. Sacked on the play by Cliff Averill. There's a late flag.
Holding, number 77 offense. Penalties decline. 4th down.
Yeah, Tyson Clable, all he had left was to try to get a hand out there to see if he could slow Averill down on the outside. He's fired up about it. Anytime you get a sack like that, particularly in that down and distance, that'll quiet a no huddle. That'll get the crowd cranked up, and you make a play like that.
Gets the sideline, gets the coach fired up. Second sack of the game for the Lions. Averill and Sue have the sacks. Stephon Logan is back deep to receive the punt by Matt Bosher. Good high kick. Logan waves for a fair catch and takes it at the 8-yard line. Good defensive series for the Lions. They came strong.
Today's game is sponsored by the Ford F-150, the only truck available with EcoBoost.
Back in Detroit, Lions start from the 9-yard line. The offensive line of the Falcons.
Where you going?
Talking things over. Lions Matthew Stafford, who threw 50 passes last week, has thrown only 8 passes here in the first half today. Keelan Williams gets a yard up to the 10-yard line. Let's go back, Brian.
Well, here's that wide 9 we talk about. Watch what it does to the tackle, Tyson Clabo. Look how deep. You can't help but turn your shoulders, therefore opening the gate to the quarterback. Now once he gets by, all you can do is hold. So you give up a sack because of the wide 9, and you get a penalty on top of it.
What do you have to do to change to block that?
Well, you got to have a presence there. They had the tight end. Gonzalez was there to affect it, but he wasn't tight enough to slow that wide rush down.
Will Heller lines up in the backfield. And Stafford gets some time and completes it to Calvin Johnson. His first catch of the game. Up to the 35-yard line. Gain of 25.
Boy, this is the definition of throwing a guy open. Matthew Stafford just throwing it in that spot above the linebacker. And when you got a guy with the arm length, the jumping ability, and the strong hands of a Calvin Johnson, I've used the term before, you don't have to hit a hole in one. Just get it up on the green.
First play of over 20 yards in the game by either team. 3 tight ends in now for the Lions. Off the play fake, Stafford being rushed late, puts it up deep for Johnson, and it's batted away by Brent Grimes. Grimes with a good play. Johnson had to slow down a little bit to wait for it, and Grimes was able to go up and bat it away.
Well, they got the rare one-on-one jump with what they wanted. Grimes or Dante Robinson told us yesterday, it's all about the timing of the jump. Yeah, Calvin Johnson's big, but you've got to time your jump, and Grimes did it perfectly there. Look, he's got even more ups than Calvin Johnson, all because of the timing of his jump.
Lions taking the deep shot, and the Falcons defending it well. 2nd and 10. Keelan Williams. No gain on the play. He's wrapped up and brought down at the line of scrimmage.
The Detroit Lions are running just enough to try to keep the Atlanta Falcons in check. But as they said yesterday, we don't mind. If we got to throw the ball 50 times, we will. We'll pick up that same run yardage, that 4 or 5 yard chipping away with drop-offs to the back. That's where I said earlier, tight end Tony Scheffler may get a few more of those types of throws. That's what their extended running game is going to have to be, because right now they don't seem to be able to run the ball against the Falcons.
Lions have not converted on 3rd down in the game. 0 for 4. Blitz coming. Stafford steps up. His pass incomplete. Wide of Titus Young. And the punt team comes out. We've got a game break, and for that, let's go back to Kurt Benefe.
And we go back to London, where the former Lion, Roy Williams, makes his first touchdown catch as a Bear. 25 yards from Jay Cutler, and it's a 14-2 Chicago lead approaching the 2-minute warning. Sam and Brian.
That's an important combination for the Bears, Cutler and Williams.
Yeah, 14-2. I wonder if you have to explain to the Brits, how do you end up with 2 points?
And the punt by Ryan Donahue, taken by Weems at the 16. Couple of yards on the return, well covered by the Lions. Falcons have a 10-6 lead. Let's take a look at some of the leaders for the Falcons today. Matt Ryan, 6 for 12, but he has thrown 1 interception. He rushed for a touchdown. Michael Turner, they've done a good job holding him to just 25 yards. Tony Gonzalez with 2 catches, now 1,101 for his career. Tied for 3rd all-time with Chris Carter. Ryan to the tight end Michael Palmer. And Palmer out of bounds just short of the 27-yard line.
And this is what the running game does for Atlanta. We said that they want to run to set up the pass. Well, if you're running the ball well, it allows you this kind of chump change to the tight ends. Heller not a big part of the passing offense, but the fact that you're at least attempting to run, this hopefully now will turn around and open some run lanes for Michael Turner.
Chump change?
Chump change. Take all the chump change. There's nothing bad about taking a profit. I don't care where it comes from.
Turner, straight ahead, not much. Going to bring up a 3rd and short. Lions have done a good job shutting down Michael Turner.
Well, and I tell you what, when you've got the inside players that you have, Ndamukong Suh, Corey Williams isn't getting a whole lot of credit, but him on the inside right here. They clog this thing up. That free, look at the way the backers flow. That's because the 2 tackles condense from the strong side B gap to the weak side B gap, and now the linebackers are free to flow to the ball.
Lions bring in an extra defensive back out of the shotgun. Ryan rolls and throws to Roddy White, and he's got it for a 1st down at the 31-yard line.
I mentioned in the open that Roddy White hasn't had quite the opening part of the season that we're used to seeing out of him, even though he's on pace for better than 90 catches on the year. Had an uncharacteristic number of drops. That they hope to change, and now they revert back into the no huddle that was so successful the drive before.
Julio Jones missing his 2nd consecutive game, the high 1st-round draft pick, outstanding young receiver. They expect to have him back after the bye week. 2-minute warning with the Falcons leading 10-6. Falcons traded up to number 6 from number 27 to get Julio Jones, but he remains out. But while he was in, he's off to a good start in the NFL. Right here, the Falcons with a 1st down just across the 30-yard line. Ryan, pump fake, throws, and wide open is Tony Gonzalez. And he is wrestled down across the Lions' 40-yard line. 3rd catch of the game for Tony Gonzalez.
Great stick move by Tony Gonzalez. Watch this. You've already seen the out complete. A little nod, turns up the field. Matt Ryan just having to wait him out. This is why Tony Gonzalez is so phenomenal. He's like a receiver down the field.
30-yard gain, 1,102 career catches. He's tied with Marvin Harrison for 2nd all-time. Stephen Tulloch, the middle linebacker, calling out defensive signals. Here's Turner carrying. Nice haul. Turner springing it to the outside, shoved out of bounds at the 20-yard line.
And this is what the no huddle does for you. I want you to watch right here. Watch the left guard. He's got the right count in the box. Matt Ryan says, this is where I want to run. This no huddle is affecting the Detroit Lions. These fans have to take it on themselves to say, look, we're not going to let you do that in this building. And right now, this building is a non-factor.
Falcons have gained 49 yards on 2 plays. Ryan checking off. 3 wide receivers in.
This looks to be a pass. They've loaded the box up a little bit. Matt Ryan probably wanting to throw here.
Short drop, and he completes to Tony Gonzalez, who is now 2nd all-time by himself. Only Jerry Rice has caught more passes than Tony Gonzalez in the history of the National Football League.
And the fact that it is a tight end that holds the 2nd all-time highest number of receptions in the league is substantial. Look at the other names on there. They're all wide receivers.
Michael Turner is in the slot with the empty backfield. 3 wide receivers.
Let's see if Detroit wants to bring pressure against a no-back backfield.
Here they come. Ryan puts it up for Roddy White. He's open, and he's got it. Touchdown.
Beautiful air by Matt Ryan. Watch this. Dropping it into the bucket. Catch, control, 1, 2. Just caught the back end of it. Watch this. This thing's going out right here. And that means you've got to get it back under control. You can't move it while I'm getting my feet in. Look at, he's got it right there. That was brilliant. Back judge seeing it right there all the way. Brilliant throw and catch by this combination.
18-yard touchdown pass from Matt Ryan to Roddy White. They are delaying on the field as the review continues upstairs.
Well, Bill Levy's waiting for some kind of confirmation whether we going to look at this or we going to go. And we're going to go.
I think they're going to go. It's good.
They may have been looking real quick to see, did he have control, as we talked about. Roddy White, as that thing's going out the bottom of his hands, understood, if I bobble this around to get under control, I may not have control through the process. I'm going to have to just hold on to it right here and get my feet in. That was brilliant.
Matt Bryan's extra point is good. The Falcons have a 17-6 lead. Right now, let's go to Kurt Menefee to see what's coming up on the Visa Halftime Report. Kurt.
Coming up on the Visa Halftime Report, we'll have all the guys talking about the scores and highlights from around the league. Tebow making his first start. San Diego and the Jets, that should be pretty good. Plus all the stats and fantasy stuff for you. Coming up on the Visa Halftime Report. But now, let's send it back to the games.
Good idea, Kurt. Look at those guys sitting around the table.
Watch it. This is simple as a screwdriver. I'm just going to widen. Matt Ryan's calling this now because the crowd's a non-factor. He says, look, I got one-on-one here with a guy in the middle of the field. I'm going to take that matchup. Gets back to the outside. Watch this thing. Brilliant to the end. They may have watched that last little bit of movement. He's under control. 1, 2. He gets 3 feet in. Maintained through the process. I don't know that little movement right there. He never lost control with that right hand. That's probably what they're giving him here, saying, no, there was no bobbling at all. Look at those. Those fingers never moved.
Beat his buddy Chris Houston on the play. Falcons offense comes alive with 81 yards on 7 plays. 67 of those yards came on 3 plays. The pass to Gonzalez, the run by Turner, and the touchdown pass to Roddy White.
And the 2 most successful series, both no huddle.
Stephon Logan, 4 yards deep, takes a knee. Lions have 25 seconds remaining in the first half. The Falcons are the first team to get the offense going. That's the offense we expected to see in this game.
And what did we say? It wasn't 10 plays, but they're second in the league in 10-play drives, scoring drives. That was 7 plays. Didn't need all 10 to get the 81 yards for the score. But more importantly, no errors in that drive, no penalties.
Yeah. Falcons have had the edge in time of possession with over 17 minutes. Lions have all 3 of their timeouts remaining, but very little time on the clock. Keelan Williams carries. And a good run by Keelan Williams of 10 yards. And a quick timeout by the Lions.
And the Lions have all 3 timeouts. Now they have 2 timeouts. So even though 20 seconds now isn't a lot of time, you still got time now because of those timeouts. You don't have to throw the ball wide. You don't have to throw the ball long. You can put it underneath. You got about 30 or 40 yards you got to get here. But that's doable in this time frame if I've got 2 timeouts.
Got to get down to about the 35-yard line to give Jason Hansen a shot, which would be about 53. Roddy White with a touchdown grab, his 3rd of the season. There's Jason Hansen getting ready just in case. Let's see what Matthew Stafford can come up with. Hands off inside to Keelan Williams, picks up 3.
Yeah, you need a little bit more than that. But again, you know that Atlanta's going to spread itself out, not let the big play. Maybe I can sneak another little trap or draw in there. Didn't get enough out of it, so that's why they used the timeout. No, we couldn't sneak another one in there. Let's go into the halftime and see if we can redial something up here.
Fans get on the Lions a little bit for Tony Gonzalez. An outstanding first half. 4 catches and up to second place all time. The Visa halftime report is coming up next. The end of the first half. The Falcons lead the Lions 17-6. We'll be back after these messages. That guy is special, so is this. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. Good first half for Tony Gonzalez. Sam Rosen along with the coach Brian Billick. Laura Oakman is with us as well. The Falcons have done a good job taking some of the energy out of this building, keeping the crowd quiet.
Yeah, the Detroit Lions, a hot team coming in here at 5-1, but they're at home and the building is a non-factor. And that's dangerous against a team like the Atlanta Falcons. Why? Because Matt Ryan is very good at the no-huddle. They had concerns if they were going to be able to run the no-huddle in this building. Right now, they're a non-factor. I'm not trying to take the Lions off the hook here, but the fans have got to get Atlanta out of that no-huddle.
Let's take a look at some of the first half highlights. This is a big turnover here. Falcons get the ball on the fumble by Stephon Logan. And it leads to the Matt Ryan quarterback sneak. And then right at the final stage of the first half, Ryan hits Roddy White. They made some good plays on that 81-yard drive.
Yeah, and part of it is because of the turnovers, the mistakes that the Detroit Lions have made. It's hard to get continuity. We knew they weren't going to be able to run the ball real well. Javid Best out. They talked about how they were going to get extended handoffs with the underneath throws to the tight ends, possibly the backs, but they just can't get any continuity because it's penalties, it's turnovers, and for a couple series, Atlanta with that no huddle have chewed up a good deal of clock.
Time of possession, a big factor. And the offense of the Falcons starting to get rolling late in the half. They put up the 81 yards, 148 for the first half. Matthew Stafford hit just one of his last 5 passes, and his 47 yards passing in the first half, the lowest of his career. Jason Hanson kicks it off. Eric Weems from the goal line. Weems has returned well. This time he's hit right as he gets to the 20-yard line. We get an update from the field from Laura Oakman. Laura.
Thanks, Sam. Jim Schwartz upset how his defense led Atlanta's offense at no-huddle attack, dictate the game. He said we have to do a better job disguising coverages. Offensively, he said we have to get into a rhythm. We've got to make some plays so this crowd will make some noise. We have given them absolutely nothing to cheer about.
Exactly right. Thank you, Laura. Now, Jim Schwartz needs a big defensive series from his guys as the Falcons start from the 20-yard line. Crowd trying to get into it. Ryan puts it up on first down, too high for Harry Douglas. Well, let's find out what the Falcons are thinking. Go back to Laura.
Let's keep going with this no-huddle attack. Mike Smith liking how it looks. He said we're going to continue to go in and out of it, but they're expecting it's a Jim Schwartz defense, a lot more pressure, a lot of different looks. Big thing, he said, we got to stop the penalties, guys.
And they did a better job of that late in the first half.
They did. The lack of continuity in previous games usually came because of those penalties. Mike Mularkey, the offensive coordinator, knows that. Calm things down a little bit, maybe in terms of some of the shifts and motions.
Well, Haley and Turner in the backfield. Blitz coming, a delay to Turner, and nothing there. Lions do a real good job. Turner gets back short of the line of scrimmage. The middle linebacker, Stephen Tulloch, and Chris Houston combined for the tackle.
Yeah, just a whole bunch of bodies. You can see the bodies in here with the pressure on the outside. You're not ready for that in the running game. That's what Jim Schwartz was talking about, that they've got to get more involved, show different looks. At that look right there, Matt Ryan, I'm sure, would have liked to have not run the ball when you have a DB blowing through a hole like that.
Big play for the Lions. 3rd and 10. Ryan throws outside, completes it to Rogers. Jaquiz Rogers, the little back, is brought down at the 26. And a good defensive series by the Detroit Lions. 3 and out for the Falcons.
We talked earlier, Sam, about how that was a strength for both of these teams, that Atlanta coming in was one of the top teams in third down conversion. The Detroit defense, the same category. They've held up pretty good that way, but now it's incumbent upon the Detroit offense. They've got to get some drives going here. They've got to get those drop-offs to the backs and the tight ends. Got to try to run the ball a little bit better. Maybe a few of those reverses, maybe some wide screens that we haven't seen come up yet.
Matt Bosher to punt. Stephon Logan is deep for the Lions. High snap. Bosher gets it away. Good kick. Logan looked like he waved for a fair catch. He did. And he runs up to take the ball at the 40-yard line. Good field position for the Lions.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. By Toyota. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go.
First 3 and out for the Falcons in the game. Now the Lions take over at the 40-yard line. What do you look for, Brian?
Well, they've got to get into their version maybe of the no huddle, or their version of it, to change the pace here, because right now they've got nothing going.
Put it up quickly to Calvin Johnson, and he's got it up at the 44-yard line. Brent Grimes covering on the play.
Just the whole tempo of what they're doing. You've talked about this is the worst first half that Matthew Stafford has had. They know they have to throw the ball. They make no bones about that. They're comfortable with it. But they've got to find some efficiency with this underneath passing game to set up the big passes down the field.
3 wide receivers. Brandon Pettigrew, the tight end, splits out. He hasn't gotten a pass in the game, and the Falcons came in concerned about him as a big target. On 2nd and 5, Stafford being rushed. Completes it to the tight end, Brandon Pettigrew. And he's up at the first down line at midfield.
This is their version of the no huddle. I know they're huddling up, but here's what he has, what Detroit uses. They use a combination of calls in the huddle that he can kill from one play to another. All right, they call them kills and cans, and then they have alerts where, okay, I'm going to call a play, but I may change it to something totally at the line of scrimmage. We may see more of that. This is their version of the no huddle.
3 wide receivers. And they motion Nate Burleson. Go inside to Maurice Morris for a couple of yards.
And this is what I'm talking about when you look at the kind of calls that they're making. They're different code words that you use in the huddle that you can kill. That means I'm going to kill an inside run to an outside run, a right side run to a left run. I'm going to can a play. That may mean I'm going to run that goes to a pass and finally alert. Here's the play, but I may want to call something totally different at the line of scrimmage. Just the verbiage, the way they get to their semi-no huddle compared to what we saw from Atlanta.
On 2nd and 8. Everybody out. Stafford's pass is tipped at the line. Wanted to go to Calvin Johnson on a quick out. And the pass batted down at the line.
You can hear right here. Right there. He was saying that was the verbiage in the huddle, that one thing leads to another. And the great thing is the defense doesn't know what you're talking about. They don't know if you're killing from a run to a pass, an inside run to an outside run, a pass to a run. So it's not tipping the defense at all.
But he's called a couple of plays in the huddle.
Correct. The verbiage means something specific to them. It's a quasi version of the no huddle.
But here's 3rd and long for the Lions. 3 receivers left. Stafford being rushed, and it's batted down. Big play on the defensive line by Ray Edwards. He didn't get to the passer, but he was there to bat it down.
He almost, look at this, he's coming in from the outside. He almost gets an interception here. Oh no, it bats down quick. Looked like it bounced back into him. I thought maybe it might have bounced off the offensive lineman. That's a lineman's dream come true if you can get this thing bouncing back up to you. Ray Edwards coming in from Minnesota. They were really hoping would be that balance to John Abraham on the outside. Really hasn't materialized so far this year. Certainly did on that play.
He's been better the last couple of weeks. Good high punt by Ryan Donahue. Eric Weems waits for it. And a fair catch at the 12-yard line. Stafford couldn't get the offense going. Last series was a 3 and out for Matt Ryan and the Falcons. Ryan has hit 7 of his last 9 passes. Tony Gonzalez on the sideline. 4 catches in the game today. Roddy White and Harry Douglas, the wideouts. Turner bounced it outside and is spun down by Louis Delmas, the safety. A pickup of 3 on the play.
And right now, Atlanta, even though we're early into the third quarter, the timing of this game, again, what is their game plan? Play good defense, run the ball, grind up the clock with long drives. Clock and time of possession is important to them, but time of possession without points is useless. It's like calories in a diet that don't count, you know. They've got to mean something, and they understand that.
On 2nd and 7, Ryan for Roddy White, a little behind him, threw his hands incomplete. Aaron Berry was there. It brings up a 3rd down and 7 for the Falcons.
And that's Matt Ryan. He knows he needs to deliver a little bit better ball, a little bit high and behind. That's a tough catch. I know he's a Pro Bowler. He ought to make that catch. But the timing just not quite there. That's been symbolic of what they've had all year long.
Gunther Cunningham calling in the defensive signals. 5 defensive backs in for the Lions. And Dominican Sue and Corey Williams are the tackles for Favre Lawrence Jackson, the defensive ends. Ryan, pressure, down he goes. He actually went down on his own and then was touched down, and he's hurting.
Yeah, I think he got a little bit of a tweak to the knee. Well, I hope this is not... I hope it's more shock than anything else.
Matt Ryan is hurting and being checked out. That could be a serious problem. Oh, his foot was stepped on.
Oh my gosh!
By
right
the
on
tackle,
the ankle.
Svitek.
Today's game is sponsored by Verizon. Get coverage of every NFL game on NFL Mobile. Call Star NFL from your Verizon phone to get NFL Mobile.
Back at Ford Field, the best sight was Matt Ryan walked off under his own power. He was limping a little bit, but he walked off under his own power. Matt Bosher to punt out of his own end zone. Good high kick. Stephon Logan waits for a fair catch. He was bumped. He picks up the ball, and he takes it out of bounds, but they're spotting it at the 46-yard line.
He signaled for the fair catch, so this is still on, even though he runs into his own guy. It bumbles up. The fair catch, you can't all... That doesn't call off the fair catch.
First down.
There's Matt Ryan on the sideline being checked out.
You can see this is gruesome now. You may want to avert your eyes here, but oh my gosh. And it's not just the ankle, but you worry about the knee. And look how sure he is on that leg. That's a good sign. But they've got to check out both the ankle and the knee. Probably more shock than anything else.
Good field position for the Lions at the Falcons 46-yard line.
Under.
Stafford with the empty backfield, working out of the shotgun. Throws short. Brandon Pettigrew, the tight end, picks up 8 on the play, down to the 38-yard line. Let's go down to the field to Laura Oakman. Laura.
Well, I can tell you, I'm standing here watching the trainers work on Matt Ryan. They're not touching the ankle. It's the left knee, the inside of the left knee. The good news is they keep touching areas around the knee, and Matt keeps shaking his head. No, I'm not feeling the pain there. I'm not feeling the pain there. I'll let you know as soon as I have an official update, but it does not look like he's in a lot of pain.
Thanks, Laura. 2nd and short for the Lions. Maurice Morris picks up the first down and keeps going and fights off the would-be tackler. Great job by Maurice Morris as he fought off Kelvin Hayden. Stiff-armed him and took it down inside the 10-yard line, down to the 7.
I'm sorry, watch the right side here. They have spread this thing out now clearly in a 3-wide set. It has loosened up the secondary and the linebackers of the Atlanta Falcons and will open up some of these run lanes for Detroit.
31-yard run for Maurice Morris, his longest of the season. 1st and goal for the Lions. Morris again off the fake. The pass for Calvin Johnson off his hands, a little behind him. Matt Ryan is going to the locker room of the Atlanta Falcons. The backup quarterback is Chris Redman. who has not played in a regular season game.
Yeah, this thing was almost disaster. A little bit behind him, had to play fake first, bounces up, Grimes almost gets his hands on it. That would have been lethal for the Lions had he been able to come up with that.
Get coverage of every NFL game with NFL Mobile. Call ** NFL now. 2nd and goal for the Lions. Quick outside to Nate Burleson, and he is wrapped up and spun out of bounds. That William Moore, the safety, coming up with a good tackle on the play.
Stafford needs a more accurate throw. I know that's simple. Watch where this ball is catch. You're going to see it on, on the extreme outside. Let it run. It's a little bubble screen right here. Look how he has to catch that going behind. That's one that you got to throw just right into the lead glove. Let the guy catch it going forward. That way he can secure it, look downfield, and make a cut. That's a small little play by the quarterback, but that's got to be as accurate as anything.
3rd and goal.
Down in here.
Yeah. Stafford rolling, in trouble, and a great play by the defensive tackle Corey Peters. The sack on Stafford as the Falcons defense comes up big.
And this came from the inside. Peters obviously coming from the inside. You get this kind of pass rush from one of your defensive tackles. Does a nice job wrapping it up, not allowing him to get the ball off. Covered up, no place to go. Calvin Johnson's on the other side. They had taken him away. No places to go for the quarterback, Matthew Stafford.
34-yard field goal try for Jason Hanson. And it's blocked. There's a flag on the play. The ball picked up by William Moore. And he's still on his feet. Finally brought down at the 30-yard line. Let's check out the flag.
I think we're offsides by Atlanta.
Offside. Number 93, defense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
That's the second one on Ray Edwards that he has lined up offsides. Right here, he jumps on the inside, trying to get a jump on the snap with the center. That's why the block.
Yeah.
He was back there before the ball was.
Good try by Ray Edwards, but brings the ball back down to the 10-yard line. It's still a 4th down, and they'll still attempt a field goal. This one will be from 29 yards. Hanson is 2 for 2 in the game. And he's 3 for 3 in the game. All the Lions points, field goals. Mike Smith's defense has come up big to hold the Lions to field goals. Back at Ford Field in Detroit, where the Falcons lead the Lions 17-9. Get coverage of every NFL game with NFL Mobile. Call ** NFL now. Eric Weems back deep. Falcons defense coming up big when they had to hold the Lions.
Yeah, right now the Lions just have no real continuity what they're doing.
Hanson's kick. Weems brings it out from 5 yards deep. And he is tripped up and sent flying. Tackled by Alphonso Smith. Chris Redmond makes his first appearance of the season. Chris Redmond, a 9-year veteran, replacing the injured Matt Ryan. You had Chris in Baltimore. What's he all about?
Well, they can't get too conservative here with Chris Redmond. He's a good, solid quarterback. He'll orchestrate the game plan, likely take him out of the no huddle. That's good news for the Detroit Lions.
From the 20, Falcons have been 3 and out in 2 possessions here in the second half. Turner carrying into the middle, and the middle of the line shoves him back. Now Matt Ryan jogging. That's a great sign. Out of the tunnel and heading for the Falcons sideline.
Yeah, I don't think the fans are booing Matt Ryan. We're not at that point in the game. He looks pretty strong right there. A little bit tender on. I'm sure he's going to take some drops and throws before they put him in the game. Chris Redmond, now you can't get too conservative with him. Now they're opening up into 3 wides. You got to let him run the entire game plan. We're only halfway through the 3rd quarter.
On 2nd and 8. Redmond throws, and it's a little behind off the hands of Harry Douglas. diving attempt for the interception by Louis Delmas.
Conversely now, and here comes Matt Ryan on a third down, but if I'm Gunther Cunningham, I'm going to roll in a few different looks defensively. Now Matt Ryan's back in the game, but I'm going to test Matt Ryan now with some pressure. I'm going to see how comfortable he's moving around the pocket. I may bring a little more heat here than I might normally do it.
The noise builds. Ryan throws, completes to Harry Douglas, turns it into a big gainer. Spivey, the safety, takes him down across the 30-yard line. Well, how about that? Matt Ryan steps out of the locker room, back on the field.
And watch this. You're just going to see a deep in route. Matt Ryan throwing right into the hole where needed. And we said Harry Douglas now, he can do some things with yards after the catch. Watch the separation. They lost a little something with Julio Jones being injured, but Harry Douglas had a great preseason, is very good with those yards after the catch.
49-yard pass and run, catch and run by Harry Douglas. And the ball just inside the Lions 30, longest play of the game. Michael Turner hit at the line, shoved back, and brought down by DeAndre Levy. A gain of about a yard on the play. First hit by Ndamukong Suh to slow him down, and Levy finished it off.
Well, we said coming in that Detroit and Atlanta balanced each other in terms of strength. Atlanta, one of the best red zone offenses in the league. Detroit, one of the better red zone defenses in the league. This is a key time here for Detroit to hold them to a field goal.
Two tight ends in, Tony Gonzalez and Reggie Kelly. Actually, three tight ends in. Ryan gets time, completes to Tony Gonzalez. No, it's ruled incomplete. He dropped it as he went to the ground, did not hold on.
Anytime they can use Tony Gonzalez's size, let's see as he brings it down. Does he have control? Now we can't see there. Must have had some kind of bobble coming out the other side. Now as you see him go down, I think you're going to see the ball go rolling out right there. No control. Could have rolled over a little quicker. Might have been able to pull one over on the officials, but that was too easy to see.
Can't pull one over on the camera guys. Our camera guys do the job. Well done. There's third and long. 5 defensive backs in. Ryan shovel pass incomplete. Try to get it to Jacquizz Rodgers.
Wow, they just about had the perfect call. They brought a corner blitz on the outside. Watch this. Everything's coming. There's going to be a guy come out in here and here and here. Watch this. If he can just get this thing off with just a little bit of in behind it, look at all this air up into here. That would have been a huge play. Great call by Mike Mularkey, just not able to pull it off on the inside.
Matt Bryant has made 25 in a row dating back to last season. 9 for 9 this season. 47-yard attempt. It's on the way, and it is good. Matt Bryant, a beauty. And the Falcons put 3 on the board and have a 20-9 lead. Matt Ryan came out of the locker room, hit a big play to help set up the field goal. Well, we got great football coming your way. There's the second game of our doubleheader. Most of you will see America's Game of the Week with the Packers 6-0 in Minnesota, the great rivalry of the NFC North teams, the Packers and the Vikings. Some of you will see the Rams and the Cowboys. America's Game of the Week coming up next. Second game of our Fox doubleheader. Check your local listings for the game in your area.
Well, Matthew Stafford knows it is to come as a rookie. Christian Ponder in Minnesota getting his chance. It's time, but it's good news, bad news, son. Good news is you get to start. Bad news, it's against our arch rival, Green Bay Packers, and they, by the way, happen to be the best team in the league.
Welcome to the NFL. Oh, that's Terry Robisky congratulating Matt Ryan. Yeah. That's the tackle, Will Svitek, who stepped on his ankle.
Yeah. He's saying, Matt, thank you, because if that been hurt, I was on my way to Timbuktu. They'd have shipped my fanny out of here if I'd have been the one that got our franchise quarterback hurt. No one happy to see Matt Ryan come running back on the field to make a play than Svitek.
Stephon Logan is deep. Bosher's kick to Logan, 4 yards deep. Logan hit at the 15, pushes it up ahead to the 16-yard line. Time for a game break. As always, here's Kurt Menefee.
Oh, the Jets clawing back in it against San Diego. Mark Sanchez picking up with Plexico Burress. Nice play for Burress' second score of the day. San Diego still holds on to the lead, 21-17 late in the third quarter. Sam and Coach.
Thanks, Kurt. Plexico Burress, that's important for the Jets if they can get him going. Looks like he's had a good start to the game.
Yeah, they got to give Mark Sanchez some weapons to get that offense cranked up.
Lions start from the 16. Maurice Morris. It's a couple of yards on the play. Lions don't have that explosive running threat with Javid Best out of the lineup.
No, but they can get it by spreading it out. This last series, they spread it out a little bit, got into a little of their check, kill, alert sequence to put themselves in the best possible place for a play. They can get the same effect with the drop-offs, the quick screens, the reverses we've seen. They're not going to do it with straightforward running the ball.
Scott Linehan calling the plays from the sideline. Stafford gets time, goes short over the middle, and the completion is good for the first down up to the tight end Brandon Pettigrew.
What this does is it allows them to, as long as Atlanta wants to stay in the looser zone defenses, he can drop the ball off here. At some point, they got to come out of that and give you the one-on-one matchup with Calvin Johnson.
He's out there.
2 tight ends in. Tony Scheffler in the slot to the left. Hand it off to Morris, tries to bounce it outside, gets a couple, and he's brought down. Sean Weatherspoon makes the stop at the 31-yard line.
And you can see they've moved Calvin Johnson around a little bit. We've talked about left side, right side, in the slot. But as long as they can be effective with these little dump-off passes or a little bit of run, they may be able to force one-on-one coverage wherever Calvin Johnson is to get the one-on-one matchup they're looking for. And at that point, Matthew Stafford can check them to the play they want.
Again, 2 tight ends, Scheffler and Pettigrew. It's Maurice Morris. And a couple of yards. Now, what are those plays, a play like that, what does that serve to do?
Well, you could see they were in a passive coverage, so running the ball was probably the right thing to do. He had the right number count, but you still have to execute it. You still have to block it. So he's calling the right plays. You just got to get it executed. Wait, as long as Atlanta says, as long as we can stop you with our standard front, and you can see, look at this loose coverage here. We're going to stay in that loose coverage until you show us that you can beat us with the underneath stuff.
On 3rd and 5, Calvin Johnson, a first down. Grimes covering. Stafford drilled it in. And that was one they needed. 3rd catch of the game for Calvin Johnson.
You can see, look at all the room here. Look at all the room here. They're backed off. They're playing passive zone. Well, that gives you opportunities underneath. That's a tight throw into Calvin Johnson. You're going to continue to see the back and the tight ends chip away as long as they stay passive.
First 3rd down conversion of the game for the Lions. Burleson on the end around. He fakes it. Stafford fires to Johnson. Trying to break away. He does. Calvin Johnson goes all the way. "57-yard touchdown. Stafford to Johnson."
Watch this. You're going to see him coming in motion. Now watch what this ghost fake does. You call it a ghost fake because you're faking the reverse. Look what it does to the defense. Everybody's jumped up in here. It opens up the hole in behind the defense. They're reacting to the reverse. Nice job by Stafford. A huge hole for Calvin Johnson to come in. They were expecting more help underneath, and now Megatron just steps out of the tackle for a touchdown.
10th touchdown of the season for Calvin Johnson. Hanson's extra point is good. And now it's a 4-point game, 20-16.
Again, you're going to see with this fake. Watch what it does to the linebackers. The secondary is expecting underneath help, and look, it's all reacting to the reverse fake. They don't know where the ball is, and now it opens that double layer, that double level throw and then the big man just takes over.
Sherrillis did a good job taking care of John Abraham, who was rushing from the outside.
Nice play fake. Look, you turn your back to the defense, avoid the rush. Nice job by Sherrillis pushing him by. Little dangerous. A quarterback hates it when he has to turn his back to a defense and hope they get suckered.
6 plays, 84 yards. Big touchdown for the Lions.
Yeah, he had John. This was a one-man route. If Calvin Johnson's not there, I'm going to have to eat this thing. This was a sellout all the way. But you know what? If I got to go with one guy and one guy only, I think I'd pick that guy.
I agree with you there. Matthew Stafford has had at least 1 touchdown pass in every game this season. He has a streak going of 2 touchdown passes in 8 consecutive games dating back to last season. And that's the man they count on, the man with the most touchdowns in the NFL, Calvin Johnson with 10. He was shut out last week by the 49ers. Eric Weems is deep. Weems, 6 yards deep, takes a knee. 4-point game. Lions trying to bounce back from the defeat last week. Record breakers, touchdown receptions. Jerry Rice, first 6 games when he scored 22 touchdowns at 87, he had 8. Randy Moss in 2007 when he scored 23, he had 8. Calvin Johnson had 9 in the first 6 games this season. What will he finish with? Stay healthy, unlimited. Now the crowd gets loud. Michael Turner. Lions are there. No gain.
You know, I was fortunate to have Randy Moss early in his career as a rookie in Minnesota, and a lot of people asked me about the comparison between Calvin Johnson and Randy Moss. Obviously, Randy Moss was probably a little bit faster, had great leaping ability, but Calvin Johnson is just so physically strong. This guy can run, he can get up, he's got great hands, but the sheer brute force is, I think, what separates him from the rest of the receivers in the league right now.
Fans getting into it. Ryan completes it to Tony Gonzalez. He holds on, he fights for yardage, trying to get the first down. Let's see where they give him forward progress. Bobby Carpenter wrapped him up.
And this is the yard marker right here. Our yellow line's not official, but this yard marker you're looking at right here is official. Looks like it's like Jim saying, no. How can you spot that? It's hard to miss-spot it like that. You're at least a half an inch off. That's what he's telling him right here. How can you misplace it by a half an inch?
And it was touching the 30-yard line. That's a first down for the Falcons. 5 catches in the game for Tony Gonzalez. Draw play to Turner. Finds an opening. Big hole for Turner. He's still going. They chase him down. And he's pulled out of bounds, but a great run. Louis Delmas, the safety, caught up. But Michael Turner with a 52-yard run.
Yeah, this is just a little delayed. They're not sure. It's a little play action fake there, meaning I'm going to fake the quick screen. And right here, the numbers are fine. But right now, you just can't. When you feel like this, a little late by the linebacker, a missed tackle on the outside by the DB. Worst combination you can have. Late by the linebacker, bad tackle. And now we got a penalty on the play.
The pass intended for Roddy White. Bill Levy.
Illegal substitution, 12 men on defense, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
All right. Lions, some confusion.
And give Atlanta credit for hurrying up. Anytime you get a big play that ends up down in the red zone, typically you will run teams on because you want to get, there's a lot of confusion going on right now. That confusion being they were trying to match up personnel for personnel. They've substituted a big, they've gone to their big group now. They got an offensive lineman in here at tight end.
The backup center, Joe Hawley, number 61, is eligible.
And an unbalanced offensive line. Look for them to run to the left.
Weems motions. Turner. Oh, he stopped in the backfield. Excellent play by Ndamukong Suh.
just blowing the play up on the inside. Right into here. You know, you can do whatever you want. You can go on bounce line. You can throw the lineman you want over there. But all of a sudden now you blow it up in the inside with Williams, Sue, Fairley. Tough combination.
Tough game. It's been physical. It's been good. And it's exciting. 20-16, Falcons lead into the third quarter.
They were misaligned, but it doesn't matter. When you got a Ndamukong Suh going to blow up, the guard couldn't get there. They were misaligned. This could have been a gash because they were misaligned defensively. Ndamukong Suh covers it up by blowing up the play.
Falcons in the red zone for the fourth time of the game. They've scored 2 touchdowns and a field goal the previous 3. Ryan's pass is intercepted by Amari Spivey, the safety. Second interception of the game for the Lions. Huge turnover.
Well, I think Matt Ryan thought he was going to knot it up just a little bit quicker. Therefore, the overthrow, safety in behind it. You're going to see the route here. We've seen it before. Just that little bit of stick, nod, push your way up and across. He must have thought he was going to be a little bit deeper. Gonzalez coming out a little quicker, a little flatter. Matt Ryan a little too high on the throw. Huge turnover. Detroit now, they're in the shadow of their own goalpost, but that's okay with them. They're just glad to have the ball.
Spivey's 3rd interception of the season, the Lions' 10th of the season. Stephon Logan comes in for the Lions and will line up in the backfield with Keelan Williams. And it's Williams straight ahead, spinning across the 10-yard line up to the 12, a pickup of 8 on the play.
You know, play calling down here is interesting. I always love Bobby Bowden's mentality that said, down inside the 5, here you can see just straight downhill, fake it kind of to the tailback and give it to the fullback. But Bobby Bowden's mentality was, don't get nervous, somebody's about to score. You got to be aggressive down here. This is a long way to go. You're not going to drive the length of the field without a big play.
On 2nd and 2, it's Williams again. This time he stopped short of the line of scrimmage. Bring up a 3rd down for the Lions. Falcons have had 2 turnovers in the game. The Lions have had 1. And you can see records by turnover margin. If you're +1 or better, Falcons 3-0. When they're -1 or worse, 0-3.
And that pretty much holds up for the whole league. When you get a turnover margin of error, 1 or 2 is substantial in this league, along with explosive plays.
The running back Williams splits out. Empty backfield on 3rd down. Stafford throws outside, and it's through the hands of the tight end Will Heller. So after a good 1st down run, the Lions fail to capitalize, and it's 3 and out.
Matthew Stafford is rushing himself here, and I don't know that he needs to. He didn't look comfortable last week against San Francisco. Atlanta's putting on a pretty good rush, but he kind of rushed himself through the progression there. And he just doesn't seem on task like he was the previous part of the season. I don't know whether it's perceived pressure or actual pressure, but he's not settling in and throwing the way we've seen him throw before.
Donahue's punts have been high but fairly short, and here's Weems getting good field position for the Falcons. Driving ahead across the 40. There's a late flag. Back at the 45-yard line. Weems gets down to the 37-yard line, and we'll check out the flag.
I think it's going to be a face mask. You know, you got bodies flying through here. Someone reaches out, and all of a sudden.
During the return, holding
Nope.
number 28 of the receiving team.
I'm wrong.
10-yard penalty, spot of the foul, 1st down.
I thought that we're going to get a face mask on him, and then this is dodging a bullet for Detroit, because right now we're a 4-point differential. 3 points makes it a touchdown and an extra point, obviously. That's a huge differential in a game like this.
Number 28, Thomas Deku, the man who's holding.
Just too much jersey. He got by you. Let him go. You got to let him go a couple times. Just in case you didn't see it the first time, I'm going to come back and hold him again.
Deku, the starting safety. Falcons use a lot of their regulars on special teams. Now the Falcons will start from the Lions' 47-yard line. Still good field position.
Sometimes this is a place for a vertical shot now. Return, you stone them, you're back on the field. This is the place where you might want to play fake and take that shot down the field.
Got Mohaley and Turner in the backfield. And Ryan checks off.
I think we may be checking to a run. This is a shell coverage, so he may have had that on, and now he's going to check it back to a run.
Got 5 seconds on the play clock. They get it off. It's Turner. Try to bounce it outside and gets a couple of yards on the play. Let's check out some of the leaders in this game today. Matt Ryan, 13 for 24, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Michael Turner has gone over 100 yards with that 50-yard run. Tony Gonzalez, 5 catches, has moved into second place in NFL history in receptions.
Now it's just the opposite. They're building the box. He's checking to something else. He's got single safety defense. We may see a shot here.
Fake draw. Ryan, as time goes short instead to Mohaley, the fullback. And he's down to the 41-yard line, and he's hurt on the play. Mohaley holding his right knee.
Oh, you hate to see that. And not intentional, but you can see just in the tackle, going low into here to make the play just as the knee comes down. Oh, boy.
Delmas on the tackle. Mohaley is injured.
Today's game is sponsored by Corona Extra, who invites you to find your beach, by Chevrolet and their award-winning cars, trucks, and crossovers, and by Farmers Insurance. See how your local agent can save you money. We are insurance. We are farmers.
Back at Ford Field in Detroit, Ovi Mohaley, the big fullback, is being helped off the field. How did this day start with both teams going at one another?
Yeah, and that's the emotion that this game, you have to play this game. But when something like this happens, obviously players have a huge respect for the physical toll that takes on a player. Louis Delmas here recognizing, look, nothing intentional about this, out there playing football, but he recognizes the vulnerability that every player has when he's on the field. He doesn't feel good about it, but now you got to come back and play ball.
And you can see the pain written on the face of Ovi Mohaley.
That's a good sign that he's got any kind of pressure on it, but I tell you, this is a big loss for Atlanta. They're a fullback-driven offense. This now puts them in a configuration that's going to be tougher to run in a way that they're not as familiar with.
Ryan signals his receivers over to the left side on a 3rd down. Everybody out. Ryan's short pass, short of the 1st down. He completed it to Roddy White at the 39, but short of a 1st down. Check around the league at what's happening. 6 quarterbacks getting their first start of the season today. Antonio Gates back in the lineup for the Chargers with his 70th career touchdown reception. Ernest Graham for Tampa Bay, hurt in that game in London. Falcons going for it on 4th and 2.
Let's see if they're trying to draw him off sides from gun. You don't typically do it from here.
No, quick snap. Ryan throws. Roddy White shoved out of bounds. There's a flag on the play. There's a flag. Let's check this out.
Wow, this looks, they're signaling holding on the defense. Let's see.
Pass, holding, number 26
Wow.
defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Louis Delmas is called for the hold and an automatic 1st down for the Falcons. A huge penalty.
Yeah, and you can see it. He had Tony Gonzalez one-on-one. Knew that could be a primary target for Matt Ryan. You're going to see right here. On the top, right up in here. They're right up in here. Tony Gonzalez is trying to pick clean right there. He's got a hold, got a hold, got a hold. The ball came out real quick on the snap. tough matchup for Delmas against the future Hall of Famer.
The drive stays alive at the Lions 34. 2 tight ends in. Turner going outside. And he is stopped short of the 30-yard line. So with Mohaley out of the game, the Falcons went with 2 tight ends, Tony Gonzalez and Michael Palmer.
Yeah, they can run 3 wides, running game certainly, but they prefer to have that lead back, that backside. You can see here now 20 carries, what that means for this offense. Of course, you look at that sometimes, I'm thinking, well, I'm going to give the ball 20 times to Mike Turner and then I'm going home. But that bodes well for them when he gets the number of carries and has the yards up above 100, as it does every team.
He can wear the defense down. Off the play fake, Ryan completes to Ronnie White. He's tripped up inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. Amari Spivey with a tackle, 14-yard pickup.
And we say it all the time, watch the play fake. What does it lead to? If we, right there after the play fake, look at the linebackers. None of them are no more than 5 yards deep. That opens that hole that you're looking for right in behind it. We've seen both teams do it. Play fake, then look for the deep in behind the linebacker level, right in front of the quarterback.
Last time in the red zone, Ryan threw an interception. Falcons have scored 3 times in the red zone in the game, 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Turner, nothing open. He's brought down by Stephen Tulloch, the man they call the tackling machine, the former Tennessee Titan.
Right into here, watch him pull the trigger. It's very hard to run stretch zone plays to the outside against this defense. What we tell you, that the basic premise of the wide 9 defense is to not let you get outside. Jim Schwartz at Tennessee to stop the Indianapolis Colts and Peyton Manning from getting that play. Falcons no more successful getting to the outside than they are.
3 tight ends in for the Falcons on 2nd and 12. Short drop by Ryan. He fakes and takes off. And he throws. That's incomplete. The ball was out of bounds. Ryan threw just as he was approaching the line of scrimmage, the 20-yard line. Try to get it to Roddy White.
I'm not sure a healthy Matt Ryan on a healthy knee and ankle might have continued to maybe run with that thing. Probably ill-advised to do so now. I know he's fine, but you got to know that that thing's still hurting. I'm okay at him doing that.
Falcons 5 for 13 on 3rd down conversions in the game.
Key here, don't lose the field goal opportunity to make this a 1-score game.
Everybody out. Ryan drops it off to Jacquizz Rodgers, and he's brought down at the 22-yard line by Chris Houston.
And the call reflects that. Mike Mularkey knowing that the 3 points, if indeed they can get it, make it a 7-point differential. That's huge. So a safe screen, a safe draw, kind of a predictable call in that situation.
40-yard field goal try for Matt Bryant, who's 2 for 2 in the game and has a streak of 26 consecutive successful field goal tries. Bryant does it again. 3 for 3 in the game. It's a 7-point lead for the Atlanta Falcons, 23-16. Lions have been a good second half team this season, and they need a comeback. See the numbers? They've scored 121 points in the second half and overtime this season. Now down by 7. Bosher kicks it off. Stephon Logan will bring it out. Trying to get wide. And he does with speed, turning the corner. Good return. And Logan is chased out of bounds at the 32 by the kicker, Matt Bosher. 31-yard return. Lions offense on the field when we come back.
Today's game is sponsored by Chevrolet and their award-winning cars, trucks, and crossovers.
Back at Ford Field in Detroit, the Lions needing to mount a comeback, trailing by 7. John Abraham's got a brace on his right elbow.
Well, they're going to need Abraham because I think they're going to stay fairly passive in their secondary, see if they can get a rush with their four-man rush. They don't want to let Calvin Johnson beat them with a big play.
Maurice Morris, not much there. Maybe got half a yard on the play. Morris has run for 49 yards. Keelan Williams for 44 in the game with Javid Best out. Leaders for the Lions, Matthew Stafford, 12 for 22, 142 yards, 1 touchdown. There are the numbers for Maurice Morris. And Calvin Johnson, 4 catches for 96 and a 57-yard touchdown. Tight end Will Heller shifting. Stafford runs and throws deep for Calvin Johnson, overthrown. Thomas Deku, the safety, picked up Johnson deep.
Well, Atlanta's just kind of inviting. You can see these two high safeties. They're playing a passive zone, a shell coverage. Matthew Stafford may be more advised to pull that down and run with it rather than throwing up this jump ball to Calvin Johnson. I know he usually comes up with this kind of stuff, but he really wasn't in a position to hit this thing late. Right now, Atlanta's just daring them to run the ball and throw underneath.
Lions only 1 for 9 on third down conversions in the game. Stafford with time, he throws too high, trying to get it to Titus Young. He was covered, and William Moore, the safety, almost went up and intercepted. 3 and out for the Lions. Good defensive series for Atlanta.
Yeah, he lost sight of William Moore because he was throwing that right into the teeth of that defense. A 3 and out for the Lions. There again, Atlanta just daring them to see if they can throw the ball down the field. Needed to be more efficient in their underneath passing game.
Lions 4 3 and out in the game. Ryan Donahue to punt. High kick. Eric Weems looks around, will try to return it. Slips one man. And he is pulled out of bounds at about the 23-yard line. Falcons with a lead. Lions offense stalled on that last possession. Falcons want to take some time off the clock. They have the ball to 23. Jason Snelling is in the fullback position, normally occupied by Ovi Moheli.
He's showing him a tough running front. We'll see if Matt Ryan, even in this situation, wants to throw a quick pass.
And Ryan drops back and goes to Snelling. Slips one man and another. Great job by Snelling. Boy, he turned a little catch into a nice gainer up across the 40-yard line.
Well, Jason Snelling's in because of the injury to Ovi Mahali. They're going to have to put him at fullback. He's not the hammer that Mahali is, but he does give you this. They've even used Jason Snelling in terms of motioning him out of the formation, almost like a wide receiver or another tight end. He gives you this element.
Picked up 18 on the play, up to the 41-yard line. Again, Ryan checking off at the line.
Checking to a run here. He's seeing a high box.
Vanden Bosch jumped across the line. They threw a flag. Little huddle.
False start, number 2.
Oh, they called it on Matt Ryan.
He was jerking the count around a little bit, whether it was bobbing the head or a little too much shoulder action. Right there, just that little nod of the head. I don't know, that's pretty subtle. They'll get a quarterback for an overt head nod to try to pull a defensive line off. That was pretty subtle.
1st and 15, back to the 36. Ryan throws, wanted to get it to Tony Gonzalez, but missed. Time for an update, and for that, back to Kurt Menefee.
And the Jets take their first lead of the game against San Diego. Mark Sanchez hooking up with Plexico Burress. Burress' 3rd touchdown catch of the day puts the Jets up 24-21, and they just picked up Phillip Rivers for the 2nd straight possession. Sam and Brian.
Thanks, Kurt. Jets may have found something with Sanchez and Plexico. Second and long. Draw play to Turner. Slips a couple of tackles, but slowed down by Chris Houston and finally brought down close to the 45. Nice run, 9 yards by Michael Turner.
Right now, this is all Matt Ryan's doing, okay? I'm seeing shell coverage. I'm going to call run. If I see a single guy in the middle of the field for one-on-one or 3 deep, then I'm going to throw a pass. He's playing a numbers game with Gunther Cunningham, the defensive coordinator of the Lions.
Chris Houston, who hit Turner, is still down. Crowd urging on the Lions defense on a 3rd and 6. Chris Houston walked off under his own power. And we welcome those of you who are just joining us to Detroit, where Atlanta leads 23-16 here in the 4th quarter. A 3rd and 6 for the Falcons at their own 44. Everybody out. Ryan to Jacquizz Rodgers, and he's got a first down. The little guy out of the backfield. Rodgers, the rookie out of Oregon State.
You got a flag here. I don't know if they got a late to grab here.
Personal foul, face mask,
Yep.
number 21 defense.
Eric
50
Wright,
yards
face
after
mask.
the end of the run, first down.
So that tacks on 15.
Late in the play as he comes in, tries to wrap him up, and he just touches the, although he does give a pretty good turn there, that's going to get it called every time. We talked about the big backs that Atlanta has. Jacquizz Rodgers is that change-up back. He's a little man, but coming out of Oregon State, he gives them that scat back mentality that the other big backs that Atlanta lives with doesn't.
9th penalty of the game for the Lions, and the Falcons in good position, trying to add to that 7-point lead. Matt Ryan, who's done a lot of this on this possession, a lot of checking off.
I don't know that they don't stay with the run here.
And delay of game. They never got the playoff. Nope, somebody moved too soon.
False start, number 75 offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Take a look at what's gone on in this game. Tony Gonzalez has had 5 catches in the game and has moved into 2nd place all time in receptions. Only Jerry Rice has caught more passes in NFL history. Michael Turner with another 100-yard rushing game, his 4th of the season. And Calvin Johnson has a touchdown reception, his 10th of the season.
This defense should say run, should say pass. They're loading the box up again. They need to get back into field goal range here to make it more than a one. Up, they just can't get it off. That's twice now. Garrett Reynolds just can't seem to get in rhythm. It's a lot when a quarterback is trying to check the game the way they are. And we've seen it real clear cut. If it's too much in the box, I'm going to throw. If it's relaxed, I'm going to run. But in this atmosphere, that's 2 plays. They were in field goal position. Now they've been pushed out.
4th false start of the game for the Atlanta Falcons. That's 18 in this stadium in the last 3 games.
Yeah, and today I don't know that it's because of crowd noise. It's cranking up now, but it hasn't been real loud.
It's first down for the Falcons. 1st and 20. Michael Turner. It's a few yards back to the 40-yard line. Well, earlier we talked about this, how the Falcons prepared for the noise in this stadium with jet noise. They use jet engines. Because of the high decibel level, our cameras and audio equipment picking it up at practice on Thursday. On 2nd down, Douglas motions, 2 tight ends in. Off the play fake, outside of Douglas. He's brought down immediately by Aaron Berry. Berry, the 2nd-year man out of Pittsburgh.
Brilliant play by Aaron Berry. This thing was about to go out the gate. He ran around the block on the outside. You're going to see right here. Watch, he trails the play. That has danger written all over it, but he turns the corner like a good pass rusher and saves a big play.
Berry is in with Chris Houston on the sideline. Houston was shaken up just a little while ago when he was tackling Michael Turner.
Atlanta's going to bring this clock down as far as they can to call a timeout. Good use of the clock by Mike Smith. Don't want to take those tight ends into the locker room with you. They have no value there.
Timeout Atlanta. Big third down coming up. And take you back to the touchdowns in this game. Matt Ryan scored on a quarterback sneak from inside the 1. Then Ryan hit Roddy White 18 yards late in the first half. And this was the big one that got Detroit back in the game, trailing 20-9. The pass to Calvin Johnson, 57-yard play. And the Falcons later scored a field goal to open up a 7-point lead.
This is an interesting play call from Mike Mularkey and the Atlanta Falcons. I'm on the outside edge of the field goal. Obviously, a field goal to put myself in more advantageous field goal position takes us beyond a one-score differential. That is huge. That's all coaches are caring about right now. How many times, how many possessions does my opponent have to have in order to catch up with me? So this is less about getting a first down as it is getting in field goal position.
So what do you call here, Coach?
Anything intermediate, you might hand off the quick trap or draw, but I'm looking for a shallow crossing route or Tony Gonzalez.
Jacquizz Rodgers in the backfield. Blitz coming. Ryan throws too high. Tried to get it to Roddy White and didn't connect and took a hit at the end of the play.
Huge play for the Detroit defense, because now that brings on the punt team instead of the field goal team. That is huge. Now I've given my offense a chance with 3 timeouts, be just inside or close to 3 minutes. Okay, here you go. At home, can you go the length of the field and get us at the very least a tie?
It'll be on Matthew Stafford when the Lions offense comes back. Matt Bosher, the punter. Stephon Logan deep for the Lions. Kick is high but short. Fair catch, wait for. Logan takes it at the 13. And for the Detroit Lions, a big opportunity now to try and tie this game up.
And that is what it is. You look at it as an opportunity. Now, Matthew Stafford's going to have to show us more efficiency than he has up to this point. Atlanta's going to be very loose. They're going to see, can you go? Can you do something you haven't done much today? Go the length of the field, 70, 80 yards, take the runs underneath, take the checkdowns underneath until you force me to come out of that. Then you take your shot to Calvin Johnson.
And if you're the defense, how do you play it?
Well, they're going to stay passive until you show them that you can do something else besides dump the ball off underneath or throw it to an underneath receiver.
Stafford gets time and completes to Calvin Johnson up to the 32-yard line. Johnson's 5th catch of the game. He's over 100 yards.
This is where the pass rush of the Atlanta Falcons with a 4-man rush has got to crank it up. That's why you gave Ray Edwards all that money. You got John Abraham on the other side. Can we bring enough with a 4-man rush? Because we want to stay in zone coverage.
Everybody out. Stafford goes short. Tony Scheffler, the tight end, up to the 37. Pick up a 5 on the play. Curtis Lofton, the middle linebacker, with the tackle.
You got plenty of time. 3 timeouts. You're going to get the 2-minute warning. Pick up your pace a little bit here. But right now, Detroit's on schedule.
So Brian Van Gorder calling the defensive signals out. Everybody out again. Stafford gets time and throws for Scheffler. He hangs on.
And there's a penalty.
Penalty back at the 30. It's against the Lions. 10 penalties in the game for the Detroit Lions.
Well, it's as good as a sack when you put the pressure right in here. Now you're going to see as he tries to get the separation. Well, I'm not quite sure where I saw that, unless it was a hold or a hands to the face, because I surely didn't see a hold there.
Bill Levy called it a hold on.
Wow. That was a quick hold.
On Gosder Sharalis, holding Ray Edwards. And the ball is back to the 28-yard line instead of being in Falcons territory.
Right down. Yep. Where you at?
Calvin Johnson, the one you're always watching for.
3 wide receivers in. Off the play fake. Looking to set up the screen. It's dropped by Maurice Morris. Curtis Lofton, the middle linebacker, had it smelled out.
On the outside here, very good. He wants to, after a quick play fake, a screen after a play fake, a blind quarterback on a screen, that's tough. Now he's coming out blind, seeing a whole bunch of stuff, can't be sure how clean it is. I never liked blind screens for a quarterback. Great effect on the defense, but it puts your quarterback in a tough situation. Clearly going to be in 4-down territory here.
See the numbers for the Lions. They've only converted 1 third down in the game. They have to get to the 42-yard line. Stafford gets time, goes short to Maurice Morris. And he's brought down at the 37. And we're getting to the 2-minute warning. Lions have 3 timeouts remaining, but they have a big decision coming up here. It's 4th down, and they're down by 7.
As always, you better know where Kevin Johnson, although the defense knows that too, probably going to rely on somebody else to have to make this play because they're not going to let Calvin Johnson get this ball.
Here it is on 4th and 5. Stafford throws, and a leaping grab for a 1st down. The tight end, Brandon Pettigrew, goes up to get it. There's a flag on the play.
This may be helmet to helmet.
After the catch, personal foul, helmet hit, number 26 defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Almost unavoidable here. Big 4th down, giving a pop right shoulder to the helmet. Nothing malicious about that. It just happens. The target changed. Either way, they're in great position now. They've got 3 timeouts. They're on the 41-yard line with just under 2 minutes. Lots of time for the Detroit Lions.
Kelvin Hayden with the penalty. The ball on the 41. Stafford works out of the shotgun. Everybody out. Stafford to the sideline through the hands of Nate Burleson. He was open.
Well-timed throw by Matthew Stafford. That's just, he must have lost sight of it. I'd blame it on the sun if we were outside. That's just a drop by Burleson. That's a huge drop, putting them inside the 30. I can't imagine again that Atlanta's not saying, I don't care who beats us, it's not going to be Calvin Johnson.
But you know the Lions are going to try to get it to him somehow.
Johnson's up at the top.
Stafford gets time. Went for Johnson, and he was hit, and the ball falls incomplete. Went to Pettigrew, excuse me, the tight end, Brandon Pettigrew, the intended receiver. Sean Weatherspoon with a hard hit, knocked it loose.
Good timing there. Watch this hit. Right inside, going to take the quick one, leads him to the outside. Fair hit, no helmet to helmet. Great play by Sean Weatherspoon. Fans want something else, but that was a good, clean play.
3rd and 10. Weatherspoon slowly becoming a big leader on defense for this Falcons team. Stafford gets time and throws incomplete. Trying to get it to Scheffler. Flag on the play. Looks like interference on Thomas Deku, the safety.
Yeah, I think he's trailing it and probably got his hands on it just a little bit.
Number 28 defense, first down, start of the foul.
Mike Smith is yelling for a tip ball. He thought the ball was tipped. You can see right here, that is reviewable. Oh boy, it sure looks like it. That is reviewable. That would take the pass interference off. I don't know, we're inside of 2 minutes. That needs to come from above.
That's right.
He'd love to throw a flag right now, but he can't.
They can't. Any review has to come from upstairs.
Yep.
And now there is. Okay, the call came down to Bill Levy. He was buzzed, and he will take a look.
Some great camera work here now, because this is what the officials need to see. Watch the change of trajectory in the ball. Now, is that irrefutable? Sam, you're the official. You make the call. I ain't going to call.
I'm looking at that. I have to say yes.
That it's irrefutable it was touched. Well, it sure looked at. Look at the flight. Look at the way trajectory changes. It wobbles just a little bit.
Brian, it wasn't the wind.
Right now, Mike, how much discipline? Look at, he's reaching for the flag. If it would have been in his pocket, I promise you Mike Smith would have thrown it. Someone intelligently removed the flag from his pocket, because it would have taken more discipline than I would have had not to reach in there and throw the flag, which, by the way, is a penalty. Because we're inside of 2 minutes. If you throw the flag. Mike Smith, always well organized. I'm sure had someone is responsible for, look, inside 2 minutes, take this flag and hide it. Because you saw him searching for it.
Corey Peters was the man, the defensive lineman, who went way up and just got a finger on this.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if you can see the touch, but watch the way the ball changes and starts to wobble. You have to say that has been touched, even though you may not exactly see. Yeah, he just got it. He got a finger on
that
it.
left index finger.
Yeah, that's pretty clear cut. Look, where's the flag? Where's the flag? I know it's in there. Who took my flag? Gosh darn it, who took my flag? All right.
All right.
Thank goodness they did, because that was going to cost him, because that would have been 15 yards. Well, this is, again, we're in a situation here, and if this thing gets pulled back, they're still in pretty good shape. Right now, you can see Mike Terry saying, Mike, I took your flag, right? You're not supposed to have
After reviewing the play, number 91 of the defense tipped the ball prior to the ball reaching the receiver. Therefore, if there's no interference, it'll be 4th and 10 on the 41-yard line.
Did you say Deku? So thank you, man. You saved me. You saved me, Corey, because I was about, Coach Smith, I don't want to go back to that sideline and on a pass interference call if you hadn't have tipped that one. This changes the price of poker now, men. We got a 4th and 10.
Brings it back to the 41-yard line. 4th down again.
And
faced by the Lions.
I'm not going to be redundant, and yeah, you want to go to your big guy, but Calvin Johnson's up here. I can't imagine they're not going to have people all over him. The tight ends have been the ones bailing you out in this situation.
Here it is. They pick up the blitz. Lofton chasing Stafford. He throws it. It's incomplete. Off the hands of Brandon Pettigrew. And the Lions turn it over on downs. So the critical review of that interference call showing the tip ball by Corey Peters forced a 4th down, and good pressure by Lofton.
Yeah, this is tough. Going to your left as a right-handed thrower. Looks like Pettigrew had squared up. Had he continued on, kept his shoulders going forward, it looks like that's where Stafford expected him to go. But even at best, going to the left as a right-handed quarterback is tough.
And that's not a good sign as Stafford comes limping off the field.
He gets to the outside, chasing down. Again, got to turn, torque your body. And just at the last minute now, when you go down, he rolls up on the ankle a little bit. That's insult on top of injury there.
We saw Matt Ryan of the Falcons go off earlier in the game, but he came back on to throw a big pass after he missed a couple of plays. Michael Turner protecting the football. It's up to the 42-yard line, and the Lions use a timeout. They still have 2 timeouts remaining. The Falcons will have a bye week next week and then come back November the 6th at Indianapolis. The Lions will go on the road next week to Denver and then have their bye week. And we have an injured player on the field. Don't forget, second game of our Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader is coming up. Most of you will see America's Game of the Week, the Green Bay Packers at the Minnesota Vikings. And some of you will see the Rams at the Cowboys.
Well, the good thing for both these teams is they have the major part of their division ahead of them, particularly with the division leaders. Atlanta has New Orleans twice to play, as does the Detroit Lions have the Green Bay Packers twice to play. So they're both involved here. They're knee-deep in it. Obviously a big win for Atlanta, indeed, if this holds up on the road. For Detroit, sitting here at 5-2, you're a long way from out of it. But right now, losing at home twice in a row, you got to pick up those wins on the road someplace else.
They've gotten a road winning streak going. See what's happened today. Milestone for Tony Gonzalez, moving into second place all time. Touchdowns today, Matt Ryan, a rushing touchdown from inside the 1. He hit Roddy White with an 18-yard touchdown pass. Calvin Johnson, a 57-yarder on the pass from Matthew Stafford. The only touchdown pass thrown by Matthew Stafford, and that'll break his streak of 2 touchdown passes in 8 consecutive games. Matt Ryan went off injured, returned. Calvin Johnson, his 10th touchdown reception of the season.
Well, with 2 timeouts left, they're apt to force Atlanta at least into a punt. So they're going to at least get one more opportunity, all but a limited one.
It's Turner behind Snelling. Gets outside, and Spivey, the safety, hauls him down at the 47-yard line. The Lions use a timeout. Today's game was produced by Bob Stenner, directed by Artie Kempner, technical producer Bob Mueller, technical director John Howard, associate directors Wayne Wilson and Yvonne Wagner, the broadcast associate Jordan Wolf. Studio show produced by Bill Richards, directed by Bob Levy. Spotter in the booth was Matt Rosen. Our statistician in the booth, Jeff Nelson. Our thanks to the entire crew here in Detroit. A great job.
Best crew in the business. I tell you, it takes a lot to make me sound good. They make me sound a whole lot better than I really am. So
You
I'm
look good, you
appreciative of it.
sound good,
I don't know about
and I'm
that.
glad your mom watches.
Hey, she does. She's
She
listening
told me
to us
that.
right now. All right, we're going to get one more run here.
Coach Billick and I will be in Baltimore next week, where the Ravens will host the Arizona Cardinals.
They can get a first down. Game's over.
3rd down. It's Jacquizz Rodgers, the scat back, and he's fighting for yardage, and he got it. How about that? The little guy, Jacquizz Rodgers, 5'6", 196. He turned nothing into a first down.
Yeah, now with 1 timeout, under a minute, they may use the timeout or may not, because at that point, they're going to be able to take knees from this point out. Great win on the road for Atlanta. Detroit sitting at 5-2. As I've always said in the National Football League, 5-2. When'd you win the 5? When'd you lose the 2?
Arthur Blank, the owner, that's a happy moment. His team has put together back-to-back wins for the first time this season.
And that's substantial. That's something Mike Smith has always stressed.